no. We don't we don't do that here on the D&D show. Excellent. I see more people rolling in. This is going to be quite haphazard, I assure you, but we'll have fun as we haphazard through. Owls, excellent. All right, and then let me switch this up a bit. Boom. Okay, interesting. All right. Yes, I see what you're doing there, Moy. It'll work for now. Hello, anyways. This is going to be the roughest draft of games today. This is the first D&D show featured here on the TheCivShow channel. We've been streaming a lot of non-Civ content the last little while, but that's okay because fundamentally, I believe, and I've talked about this on stream before, that there are certain games that if you love Civ, there's a very good chance you'll love this as well. Particularly a game like Dungeons and Dragons, and it's why I've been doing some Magic streaming too. Fundamentally, why that is true is because both Dungeons and Dragons and Civilizations require a good attention span, dedication to a game for several hours in one sitting, and it's all about the replayability and returning to the game that's so fun and exciting. So I think all of this will have to spare here at this newfound D&D show. I don't know what you want to put behind me, Moy, or all of us. I guess we could figure that out moving forward.
Nothing for now.
Nothing for now. Nothing. Today is the roughest of roughest. While we're streaming on the D&D show, I will be your host and dungeon master, or rather, as I will refer to it, your innkeeper, as you stay with me. And you may, of course, all refer to me as Mr. Creek, my alter ego. I have so many jumbling around up there that it's hard to keep track, but I haven't been Mr. Creek in a little while, so I am looking forward to working with all of these fine hero, and I hope that as the show evolves, I have some pretty neat ideas for how we can involve you, the chat, without disrupting the flow of the game. I do want you to be part of this while also respecting that I need our heroes to be focused on what's happening. But we're going to figure this all out together. So let's... this stream's only going to be about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. We will get the ball rolling on some character creation. I am going to explain some basic mechanics for the way that I DM, or innkeep as I refer to it. And I will also explain some basic mechanics for what you guys can expect for your sessions, just so that you can know, how sessions will open and proceed and so on and so forth. If you've played D&D before, I might not DM the same way you're accustomed to, but we'll get used to it as we go. And I will do my best to pay attention to our chats as we're going, but know that moving forward, my real aim here as the innkeeper for this story is to provide these four hero with a spectacular story that they're very engaged with, and that you'll enjoy watching as well. All right. But like I said, working on a way for you to engage with the story as well at home. So let's turn to our hero first. Welcome, hero. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I know we have owls, as you're known in your world. We have Moy, VektorKat, and Foybles. Now, these names of theirs, these alter egos, will be further altered as we adventure forward and I get to know them and their heroes come to life. But welcome, my friends.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Greetings.
Hi. Hi. Turns out Zozo has been bribed by Wizards of the Coast to play their games. Yes, it's so true.
Sponsorship.
So tell me, friends, what do you know of Dungeons and Dragons? What has your experience been with either Dungeons and Dragons or roleplay games in general in the past? And while this is a question just to get to know you a little better. Believe me, too, this is crucial information for me as your storyteller. So why don't we start with you, Owls? Tell us about your experience with Dungeons and Dragons or role playing, if any.
Okay, as far as real time, like in the flesh role playing goes, next to zero. I fought a group of goblins once in a half-hour session, and then promptly quit
Oh, why did you quit?
because the goblins killed me, and I didn't like it.
Oh, so
Wow.
your first game, you went through all the trouble to make a hero, and your dungeon master killed you?
Yes, that's it. That's
Sounds
approximately
like
how
a
it went.
personal vendetta he had against you.
That doesn't
Damn,
sound
man,
like
that's
a lot.
ruthless.
When did that happen?
Well, it was about 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, I am so sorry. That makes my follow-up question to you. What did you love about that adventure? Was there anything that was good about it?
What I really loved is spending 3 hours sitting making a new magic deck while everybody else laughed at their game.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
How many people were playing?
You poor creature.
6 of us.
There were 6 of you playing, plus the dungeon master.
Yeah,
Wow,
so-
that sounds like a troubling experience. So what brought you to our table today?
To see if it's actually fun or not.
To see if it's fun. All right, excellent. Well, let me just make
No,
my
that's not
note
true.
here.
I really wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I was not keen to go back to that group after that. And those are the only people that I knew who did Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
So I'm hoping this is a better one.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir. And I hope that your time with me in the realm will be more entertaining, and that I'll give you fun things to do that you won't be distracted by magic cards. But also, I love a new player. New players are my absolute favorite. They're not like those experienced players that always try to take advantage of the rules and what have you. Speaking of experienced players, VektorKat. Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hello.
VektorKat, tell me, do you have any experience with RPGs or D&D in general?
About 15 years.
15 years. Oh, so you're one of those experienced players that possibly likes to give DM a hard time.
No, I'm not, because philosophically, I'm with you. I'm more interested in the players that don't understand the rules, and they just the best question I think in D&D is, can I do X? And then the game master tries to figure out, yes, I will figure out a way for you to do that, right? I don't, when I'm playing, I don't go out of my way to be a difficulty. I just love the game.
Okay, excellent. Can you tell us about maybe what you love most about the game?
The improvisation, the thinking on your feet. It's the starting out as an actor and an improv comic, and then moving into tech and design. Like, this is the part of theatrical production that I'm still engaged with in a performance side. Kind of scratches that itch for me, so for me, what interests me about the game is not so much the crunch and the math and the numbers. It's the storytelling and what can you come up with in the moment. That's what really scrambles my eggs when I'm around the table.
What
Nice.
scrambles your eggs? I love it. All right, VektorKat. Well, I do love a good experienced veteran as well. There's just something about the, as we call it in the business, popping that cherry for your
It's
first
so good, man.
hero.
It's
Every
so
hero, you
great.
start in the game, you start with a cherry, and you have to give
I
it
love
to
cherry
the
pie.
DM the first time you play. You didn't know that, Moy? You didn't? Oh, it's a custom. It's a custom.
Yeah.
It's,
Wow. I had
it's
no
a
idea.
custom.
Okay.
Yes. No, but excellent. And VektorKat, I sense you'll make a very good player indeed. So I do look forward to seeing you develop. Excellent. All right. Well, Moy,
It's me.
you seem familiar. I feel like one of my alter egos may know you quite well.
Maybe a different life. Maybe you know me in a different life, in a previous life. Yes.
Oh,
Could be
excellent,
possible.
excellent. Maybe. So, Moy, tell me, have you ever played a roleplay game before, or Dungeons and Dragons?
I've played once, only once, one session, and then I listened to one podcast of D&D, and I feel like I'm an expert. So no, I'm kidding. I've played once. There you go.
Just once, and tell us about the experience.
I was a level 5 barbarian. It was a one-time session with my friends, and I played a half-orc, chaotic, evil sort of dude who just wanted revenge on my family. And so I tried to kill one person in our party because I felt like he was the person responsible for the death of my family, which event he wasn't, so we worked it out. And then I killed the person who did kill my family, which was very, very nice. But I had a good time. It was a very good time, but I'm very looking forward to this because I know that Mr. Creek, I've heard a lot of tales of Mr. Creek. I've heard a lot of tales being told by Mr. Creek, and I'm looking forward to the tales of Mr. Creek.
Well, excellent. And Mr. Creek is looking forward to getting to know whomever we end up speaking to, whoever this hero of yours ends up becoming. It's excellent that in your first adventure you had so much fun and were not just merely slain by goblins as you made your Magic the Gathering decks. So excellent, excellent. Wait. Excellent. All right. Well then, that would leave the infamous Foybles. Foybles, my good dear friend, it is so glorious that you could join us. Tell me, Foybles, have you ever played a roleplay game before, or D&D specifically?
Yes, I have actually.
All right.
I have played 2 sessions online, 1 session in person, and it was about, I would say, 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. And they were from 2 different campaigns. And I'd say the experience went fairly well. I think we had more of a novice DM, and I was brand new to it as well. A bunch of others were brand new. So I don't know if I got a full portion size to sample when it comes to D&D. So I'm excited to get the whole book and anxious to hop in and really experience what it's all about. As far as any type of other role-playing games, I've done some some of the Elder Scrolls games. I love the Elder Scrolls series and had a lot of fun playing those role-playing games. Oblivion, Skyrim, a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online as well. But yeah, I'm definitely keen to the story, the character creation, the development, and love to be a part of that.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for that. And good. Excellent. So this should be a very interesting group. I have a feeling that there'll be some interesting personality dynamics that will develop. So my next question for you, because this is a session 0. So during today's session, I'm going to ask a series of questions to sort of gauge the sort of adventure you're looking for. I'm not the type of DM that would just go and write a big long story without first figuring out if it's something you'd actually enjoy. So a lot of what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to ask you some questions, and by the end of today, we'll be ready to begin role-playing in our next session. Does that sound good, everyone?
Yes.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so my next question for you guys is this. So what excites you So I want you to think of the experience you're about to have. Okay, and there's many things that go on during role playing. There's combat. You're exploring strange places. You're solving puzzles. You're being an actor. You're playing a character with one another. For you, from what you know of role play games, would you find the most exciting about between those four ideas, between combat, exploration, solving puzzles, and just simple role playing? Even if you had to rate each one of them on a scale of 1 to 10 for what you love. We'll start with you, Owls. Do you understand the question?
Of course I do.
Perfect.
Of those, I would probably have to say role playing. Whenever I play Skyrim and everything like that, I very rarely do what the game wants me to do. It's usually a game of, okay, today we are going to massacre the entire town.
Nice.
And
but make sure you save first so that you can just reload and get your game back to normal.
of course. That's why I like those games. I can save and then reload, but I can't do that here, so I'm not going to do that here.
Oh.
So you give role playing is like the most important thing for you. You'd say that's a 10?
10 out of 10, yeah.
10
Mostly
out of 10?
followed by fighting, combat. I love
And
combat.
fighting, okay. What about
I'm not
puzzles?
very good at it.
How do you feel about riddles and puzzles and brain teasers, solving those sorts of things?
I'll probably rate that lowest.
Lowest? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give it a 5. And what about exploring a world?
That sounds like fun.
And that sounds like fun too. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. Same question to you, VektorKat. Combat, exploration, solving puzzles, and role playing. Throw me your favorite one of those. What would you rate it?
Well, let me preface this by saying I love that Skyrim was already brought up, because I was going to bring up Fallout, right? Because the most recent Fallout, I feel like it was the first game in the series where you could only solve problems with a gun. Whereas like Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you could talk your way out of things. But of the multiple pillars of RPG, exploration and roleplay, fine. I have to admit, if I'm gonna pick one that's my top, it's interesting and engaging combat. And that is partly because I'm not DMing, I'm here as a player. I'm here to be challenged by someone else, and I'm here to roll dice. And there is something about the sound of dice that just really excites me.
You ready?
And,
you ready, VektorKat? Ready?
But, but here's my thing. Combat and roleplay are the same thing.
Okay.
I do not see a line between acting your character and portraying how your character fights, right? I love puzzles. If I have to rank anything lowest, it is like super naturalistic, grimdark, exploring the wilderness, keeping track of our rations. How many bolts do I have for my crossbow?
Okay. Yes.
I don't have a bedroll because we're playing with encumbrance, and I'm here for fantastical things. I'm not here to do collegiate algebra,
Get the calculators.
Yeah, I loved Pathfinder, and I loved 4E for what it was, right? But I'm here for the Star Wars, not the Star Trek.
That's a great way of describing it.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell when it comes to D&D.
Wow.
All right. Well, that's
Cool.
interesting. All right. I'll address that in just a moment. Okay, Moy.
Can Foybles go next? I can't follow
Sure.
that. That was excellent.
All
No,
right.
I'll go. I'm kidding. My least favorite would probably be, honestly, exploration. If I had to pick one, that'd be my least favorite. My most favorite, I think I would agree with VektorKat saying interesting and engaging combat. Things that aren't like it's either like you can use the environment or somehow you come up with a creative solution based off of what's around you and your situation to defeat an enemy that you. It's not just like, oh, you stab it in the throat and it's dead. It's like, be like, I like to be more creative and think about a little bit more outside the box of how to defeat an enemy. So you can kind of almost think of that as a puzzle and combat kind of meshed in one. There you go.
I will comment. You know what? Let's hear from Foybles, and then I'll tell you exactly what I think you guys want to hear. So,
Sure.
Which is good. All right, Foybles, combat exploration, solving puzzles, role playing. Give me some ratings.
All right, so I may flip this on its table, to be honest, because I actually do enjoy the exploration, and I do enjoy breaking down like the story and the puzzles and the intricacies of the plot. If the story's not compelling, I'm not going to want to participate in the first place. So it's got to be something that grabs my attention. It's got to be something that engages my mind, makes me think. And the combat, it just follows along with that. If the story and the adventure and the puzzles and the problems you have to solve are good enough, then the combat's going to be good along with it, in my opinion.
Fair.
So for me, I'm totally on board.
I'm saying it's all together, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's my stance.
I accept your stance, and I can't provide that. We'll see you later. All right. Well, excellent. So in role play games, and Dungeons and Dragons in particular, there is when it comes to combat, there are two kind of approaches to combat. There is combat as sport, and there's combat as war. Okay, and many DMs have their own approach to each of these, but usually DMs tend to be on one side or the other, and I think a lot of DMs do combat as sport. And here's the difference. So combat as sport is very much, the rules are very important. You all have limitations as characters. You all have specific roles to play. The exchange of battle is about the exchange of timing and rules. I can do this and it can do that, and this is how it interacts, and it's very thorough. There is a certain fun to combat as sport, but it is the way the game is meant to be played. Okay, so it's combat as sport. So your typical D&D encounter, Dungeons and Dragons encounter, has a very specific way that is supposed to flow. And in combat as sports, the limit to what you can do is what is on your character sheet. Okay. Then, which means that most of the time you're fighting is you're being conventional. You're fighting those goblins and you're using the abilities that you have. You're casting the spell that you have. You're swinging the sword that you have. And that's as far as environment's concerned with combat as sports, there is rules for environment. If you hide behind a tree, you get some cover, and there's some rules for cover. If you fall, there's some rules for falling, but it's usually very simple. And it's fine. Combat as sport, it's something that ultimately, if you're new to D&D, you will need to learn the rules to make the game flow a little better, but you'll pick them up. Okay, you'll pick them up. I, as the DM, am the ultimate interpreter of the rules, but I'm also here to teach you. Now, there's another philosophy that DMs go with, and that's combat as war. And combat as war, it's basically, in war there are no rules. Okay, so in combat as war, you're much more likely to sometimes use common sense, sometimes you use logic against the DM, but more often than not, you're going to be very imaginative and come up with something feasible that you're going to suggest that may circumvent combat as sport entirely. And let me give you an example of that.
I grab a stick and I stick it in his eye.
Sure, but here's an example. Let me give you an example. Okay, so I might provide a situation where you guys come across a dark cave, and you're well aware that within the cave you've scudded it out, and there is a large, ferocious owl bear in there, which is a cross between an owl and a bear. It's a horrible monster, very terrifying, big, terrible monster. Okay, so you're well aware that that's in there. Okay, combat as sport would be You guys go in, you roll initiative, you see who goes first, you attack it, it attacks you. The fight goes on until either it kills you all or you kill it. And there would be an exchange of dice rolls every initiative, and you would use your different talents. And when you bring it to 0 hit points, you succeed. That's combat as sport. Lots of fun. Don't get me wrong, lots of fun. Combat as war would be, okay, we go back to town, we go to the local general store, we buy all of their oil, and we bring it back, and we put it all at the front of the cave, and we light it on fire, and we try to burn it out. Okay? That would be combat as war. Or, it would be, you're like, oh, are there like rocks above this cave? I'm like, yeah, there's some rocks above the cave. In which case you guys would work together and figure out a way to maybe make those rocks fall down on the creature, and as you lure it out. Okay, that would be combat as war. I, as a DM, I encourage both. I prefer combat as war, but ultimately, the catch with combat as war is you can't have it both ways. When you use combat as sport, you guys have rules that I have to abide by, and vice versa. When it comes to combat as war, there aren't any rules in war, which means that you tell me what you want to try and do. I determine how likely it is. I'll establish some roles for you to make, but then I'm going to interpret what happens. I'm going to say whether it could be successful, or it could be that you make the fire. One of you messes up, you slip, the spark lights. One of you's on fire now. The owlbear runs out of the cave, avoids the fire completely, and now you're burning, and that could happen. So you just have to be aware that I am a combat as war DM. It is the way that my main way that I operate. That sometimes gets in conflict with players that really love combat as sport, because you have certain things that you can just do all the time that even as DM I shouldn't mess with. If you cast a fireball, the fireball always does what a fireball is supposed to do. Okay, and most of the time, I will always abide by the rules, no problem. But when you want to use the rules in a creative way, that's where I got to make the call, and you just got to roll with it, guys. Okay, and I'm sure with this group, it's not going to be an issue. So I'm very much somebody who, when we're doing a battle, I will present you with an environment, like. I will go through Roll20 with you. We're going to start with Roll20. However, I do have a vision where we might actually be able to use an actual combat board. So let me see. This is a work in progress. Okay, work in progress. But generally speaking, there will be a presented battle board. Although if you guys want, we can just do theater of the mind. I would be totally okay with that. Just the battle board, it does help you visualize the fight a little better, especially as beginners. And likely what I'll do is I'll mix it up. I'll have some encounters where it's a battle board, and I'll have other encounters where it's more theater of the mind. And that might be based on how much time we have. When it's theater of the mind, I can take a much more narrative approach. And I think you guys will appreciate having a little of both. I think that they're using actual 5th edition, by the way, that's what we're using. We're going to be using 5e, 5th edition. Using actual rules is actually very fun. The combat system is very, very well put together. It's a very flowing combat system. If you used to play Pathfinder or like 2nd edition, 2nd edition, great, fantastic. It is one of the most complicated, convoluted systems ever. And that's just because of how long it was around for. It just had really interesting ways. We'll have a future podcast where I'll tell you all about the differences between the editions.
Trailing powers, at will powers, and counter powers. My God.
At will, that 4th edition. I've been playing this game since I was 14, and I'm 39. So I've been playing this game longer than some of you perhaps have been alive. I think we have actually an older group here. But yeah, that's like 25 years. I've been playing this a while. So from 2nd edition forward, I've played the heck out of all of them. I love second edition, but when third came out, I loved third edition. I thought it fixed so many of second edition's annoyances. And then third ran rampant because third edition was very player focused and it got crazy with certain concepts. And then fourth came out and I thought fourth was great. And then I realized that fourth is like clunky Lego. It was basically D&D trying to copy World of Warcraft. And then with fifth edition, it was the best edition of to date. And I know there's like hardcore players that are like, no, second always. And it's like, no, fifth edition has the best from all previous editions have been taken. It's been tested. It's an edition where it's very malleable. So a lot of the decisions are up to the DM. So as previous editions, third edition, fourth edition, they made it that it was ultimately a lot of stuff was for the player and the DM became less and less significant, which is ridiculous. That's what Pathfinder and third edition did. Fifth edition addresses a lot of that. That said, I do want you guys thinking outside the box. I do want you, I am going to do my best to introduce mechanics that will allow you guys to do things that you would not normally be able to do. When we get the game rolling, you'll see there's also my play style is I will introduce you to special types of items that are just for your character that you'll develop over time, and these are not in fifth edition. So these are things that I very much love it when players use the environment. I very much love it when you do think outside the box and you do try to do things differently and surprise me. That said, I have also had lots of problems in the past with players that don't listen to the table in the sense of they're not present, they're not paying attention to what's going on. And there's nothing I find more infuriating as an innkeeper or as a DM as a player who more or less actively works against the party. I have no problem with inter-party conflict. I have no problem with the occasional PvP, like a little bit of a scrap. But ultimately, my law zero, my first law becomes before all rules, is the law of fun. We are here to play. We are here to have fun. And it is so critical that as players, you listen to one another, that you see what everyone else is doing, and that your action should help that out. I'm not saying that you can mess it up. You can have good intentions and things go wrong. But it shouldn't be that, you suddenly are working against everybody. And I think you guys...
no Pierce Hawthorne impersonations.
You don't need to, we will save the Pierce Hawthorne style characters for when we have PB on the show or something, because I do want to have guests, and my hope is that from this group, I'd love it if all of you stay, but I'm hoping at least 3 of you stay, but it'd be great if all 4 of you stayed. And then my aim would be we would have the occasional guest hero on the show, who would, they would, I hope, be reoccurring characters, kind of like, the jocksters, coming and joining from time to time. And it's something that I think a lot of join us, but I want it to be your game. Okay, that's my goal. It is your game. You will be exploring my world, but it is your game, and you will be the center of whatever we do. So I hope that is amicable to all of you.
Yeah. On board.
Excellent. Okay, so that's combat and what have you, and like I said, you'll discover as we go. If you don't have a player's handbook, that is okay. I through my Roll20, I have all the books, so technically now that you have access, although I think one of you hasn't joined the game yet. I think I'm still waiting on VektorKat to join. But it has everything's on there for you guys to look around and do stuff. I can even have a couple extra characters that I put in there if you want to mess around and just see what all the characters are capable of. But ultimately, you'll have one specific character that you're going to use. VektorKat, I'm just going to get you a
VektorKat's in here.
He's in here. Yeah, I see him. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. So my next little question.
Sorry, I didn't know that I had to click launch.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We're gonna learn Roll20 together, guys. It's just gonna take some time, but it's a very intuitive program, I find, if I can figure it out. And there's actually like a bunch of macros that we can add to it to make it better. That said, I do love having real dice. I do love paper, and if we can figure out a reasonable way to do it, I'm all for letting you guys roll actual dice. But Roll20 does come with a complete dice rolling system where I can just click on something, and it's probably why it's so great. But I can just click on something and some dice will be rolled.
Wonderful.
So yeah, like it didn't really.
Why is there an ape attacking us?
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
going on? Mr.
I know.
C?
I know, guys. You're under attack, you fools. Yeah, there you go. So you can see like dice actually appear on screen. Oh wait, well Moy's got the this cool little animation going, which is fine.
I will adjust it. Don't worry.
Okay. This actually can run loop videos like that. It's just something that the original image that I paid for didn't load for this, so I'll figure it out later. Yeah, I know.
I hate it when I buy things and I can't use it.
And then I can't use it. Yeah, I'll figure it out later. So either way, all the dice you need are in Roll20. And when we roll in Roll20, it's public, so everybody will be able to see it. Okay. So that will be something that we're going to figure out over the coming weeks. So perfect. Okay. So last question for this initial sort of thing. As players, okay, so as a player, I want you to think of a strength you have, something you're just really good at that you think you could bring to the group as a player. This is not talking about your character. This is just as a player, as a person. What do you think is the strongest thing that you bring to the table? We'll start with you, Owls.
Wide-eyed wonder? I don't know.
That's wide-eyed wonder.
So like what, you like to just, hey, let's go over there. Whoa.
Well, let's check it out, guys. Borderline idiocy. Like be weary, but I do enjoy checking out absolutely everything that seems like fun.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay. Wide-eyed wonder. I like that. That's all right. Very good. That sounds like you might get the party in a little trouble from time to time.
Yeah, that's kind of the direction I like to go.
Oh, those goblins, they're coming for you.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
I was killed off.
Yeah. they have the corpse of your last character, and then they look at you. Okay, VektorKat.
2 words. Yes and.
Nice.
Nice. 50 experience. Yes and. All right, excellent. So yes and is the philosophy of the great improvisers. And it's honestly, it's something that I would expect and hope that an experienced player would bring to the table is a yes and attitude. I've had lots of experiences with experienced players that it's not yes and. It's them leading the way and arguing with everybody about the abilities they took and all of that stuff. And I loathe it. Love yes and. And yes and is essentially, I'm going to take whatever you've said. I'm not going to counter it. I'm not going to say it didn't happen. I'm going to add to it. I'm going to say, yeah, that and I'm going to go with the flow. And if you've ever watched Whose Line Is It Anyways, which is something I suggest everybody look up, Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Great show.
It's a great example of how to role play, is to take that attitude in improv of yes and that's what I was talking about earlier about I cannot stand players that basically say no but instead of yes and. Where they will literally do something really dumb. Like if I presented a situation where clearly if you were to initiate combat, you guys would get murdered. If I present that situation and the first thing you do is, well, it's in my character because they're evil, I'm going to go and attack them. I hate that. I hate that so much. And it's experienced players that I find do it the most because they think that they have the abilities to overcome these, So either way, okay, excellent. Yes, and good. I want to see that. Moy, best strength you bring to the group.
Best strength. I think sometimes I'm a little clever. I also know the DM very well and knows what gets under his skin. So
is that a strength?
I don't know. It might be a weakness now that you think about it.
Yeah, this isn't the Civ show, sir. I have absolute power.
I know. No, I think I'm sort of clever. I try to think of solutions that you wouldn't think of, and I'm pretty quick on my feet. So I think I bring that to the table. A quick wit.
I like that. And I will say, some DMs, they do take the position that they are the deity of the game, the god. I'm not. I'm here with you. I'm playing with you. I'm here to have fun, just like you. And that's the way I've always DM'd. Is I believe the DM is part of the group, and they're there to have fun too. And if we're all having fun, that's a glorious thing. So you won't have to worry too much about me and Pope. I am more of a referee, you see. I'm not here to interfere in the game. Excellent. And finally, Foybles, what great strength do you think you bring to this little rabble of a group?
I love being very supportive of the team aspect and being a team player. And so I feel like I can bring that to the table and making sure that everybody's doing well, everybody's having a good time. And I guess I could tease a little bit that that's kind of how I'm bringing my character into the light as well. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit later.
That's excellent.
I definitely want to be very supportive of the group. So
excellent. Wide-eyed wonder. Yes, and clever, knows how to bug the DM, and a supportive team player. I don't know if I could ask for a better opening composition to a group. It sounds like a balance between getting in trouble and getting each other out of trouble. And that's what we love to see in a good game of D&D. Okay.
We're all rogues. Oh no, everybody re-roll. Let's go.
Okay. So the next thing that we're going to discuss before we get into the campaign itself, I'm just looking to see how far my water is. Let me just. Oh, it's a little warm, you see, in this house of mine.
That's a fancy bottle. You see that? You got spring-loaded water bottle? Wow.
I know.
Damn.
I know.
That's the Wish.com water bottle. That's the real deal.
It's a gnomish
here with my best dad ever mug and like.
Yeah, I got just like a fancy bubble bottle. Call it bubble bottle.
It's a gnomish invention that I have here, and we'll speak actually about drinks in a moment. So just scheduling wise, so the aim for the show is that we're going to present it every Wednesday from 6:30 to 10:30, but it'll likely wrap up around 10. I hope that works for everyone. My aim is to provide 3 hours of actual play, and have that, but we have a bit of a buffer to get the game rolling in the beginning and to discuss at the end. So we'll tinker, and it's also important to me that the flow of the game matters, because I do want to consider the viewers. I have been watching some D&D streams, and I'm not saying that they're bad. I've found that it can be a little trickier to follow. So I want to come up with something with you guys that will be a little easier to follow. Now that said, does that work for everybody more or less? That time frame?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there may be weeks where a conflict comes up, and we have two options, because I do want to always move forward, to be honest. And most of the time, I will play with at least 2 players. As long as we have 2 players, it would just be in a 2-player adventure. It would be a heavier focus on role playing and nothing that would maybe would be too much trouble for you. That said, I'm well aware that games fall apart, and usually it's because somebody can't make it. So ultimately, it's something that for a successful Dungeons and Dragons campaign or roleplay adventure to happen, there must be commitment from everyone, especially when we're all adults with lives and have things going on. So it's something where, in order for this to work, most of the time, if not all the time, I need all of our players working to make sure they're at the table. Okay. Now that said, there will be conflicts. And the most important one is probably when I have a conflict, if there's a day that I can't make it. So
You're the heart and soul of this, Zozo.
Yes. So there's two sort of things that we can do to address that. Moving past the fact that I'm asking you each to commit to this, and you're being here, I'm taking it as a yes that you're going to do your best to commit to this. And my first ask is that we do 4 sessions. Okay, we'll do 4 sessions, and then you'll see if this is what if you like this. Okay, and you want to continue. That sound reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Beyond reasonable.
Yes. VektorKat sounds reasonable.
It does. I will say, I'll let you know now, Wednesday night, the 4th of August, I'm booked.
Okay.
That's after 4 weeks. It's okay.
But that's after 4 weeks, right?
That's after 4 weeks, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So there's that. And if it's a smaller group one night or whatever, I will just go ahead and throw this out there. One of my favorite things to do if other players get comfortable with it is to play their characters if they need a break, so that their character is still involved in the story if the DM and them are comfortable with it, just because it takes work off of the DM. And if that's not something we want to do, then fine by me. I'm not going to complain. But I always it's sometimes it can be fun playing cover songs of other people. But no, I'm good for the next 4 weeks.
Interesting way of looking at it.
I have an in-game mechanic for when people are away. I try to avoid having them at the table. If you came back and your character got killed or something like that, lost something, you'd not be pleased. So in general, I'll work around it. Okay, so when there's a conflict, there's 2 sort of things that we can do. We can either ahead of time determine a day in the week that is our emergency day for if the game is for some reason not doable. If there's another time frame that we can work with, that's one thing. And then the other is if I have a conflict, I do have a backup DM who can run a game for me from time to time. And he would love to, and he knows my play style and even the world that you guys will be exploring. He helped me make it.
I like substitute teachers.
Yeah, substitute teachers. So we can talk about yeah. We can discuss that over chat. Lo and behold, because usually I can't do Wednesdays, but I've moved things around to make Wednesdays doable. Prior to all of this, I did book a camping trip on a Wednesday within our 4 week span. So we're gonna do one of 2 things. Either that week, if there's a day we can do it, like say if we could all do like Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, we can do that, or I'll have my sub DM. It sucks because I really did want, especially I'm the one preaching to you, I need you to be here for 4 weeks. And then, it turns out that moving it to the Wednesday, that's the day I leave to go camping.
We can figure that out later, though.
We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
We're not going to figure that out right now. I just want you guys to know that, and our audience know that we're going to do our best to be here every Wednesday. from 6:30 to 10:30. It might be 6:30 to 10 Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we're gonna start talking about the campaign itself. So as I mentioned, we're going to be exploring my world, and I hope to provide you guys and our viewers at home with all sorts of ways to do that as we discover it. Now, there is a mechanic that I'm going to utilize that today we're going to visit that place. And the idea will be that we'll return to this mechanic every few weeks. Okay. Yeah.
Is it
so
a game mechanic? Is it the
it's
game
a game.
mechanic?
It's not the game mechanic, but we'll try to get them on the show. So I am going to utilize something, a place that is very near and dear to me.
Summoner's Rift.
It's called the name. It's called the Nameless Inn, and the Nameless Inn is a place that exists between game and the real world. Okay. And Mr. Creek is the innkeeper of this establishment, and you'll meet him there. You're talking to me now, but he'll that is his primary domain, is the Nameless Inn. We're gonna have a downtime session, which will be hosted in the Nameless Inn. So the Nameless Inn is a realm of pure imagination. Okay. Pretty much, while you're there, anything you can imagine, you can look however you want. You're not formally playing D&D. There are magics in the Nameless Inn, but interacting with them all utilizes a 6-sided die. Okay. Yes. Now, I am going to figure out how, normally if I was doing this like one of my adventures, we would actually have a solid 30 minutes where we would all be in the Nameless Inn. I don't know if we'll do it that way. It may just be that every 3 or 4 sessions you're in the Nameless Inn. But either way, while you're in the Nameless Inn, myself, Mr. Creek, am there, and I speak full meta. Okay, so Mr. Creek knows the game Dungeons and Dragons. You can ask him any question you like about rules. You can ask him anything you want about setting up the game. You can ask him certain questions even about the world and what have you from time to time. There are resources in the Nameless Inn that I will allow you to explore over time that can be utilized to do things like there's a library that you can look stuff up in, and there are some characters in the Nameless Inn that you can utilize. Okay, so today's session will actually begin in the Nameless Inn, and when we end the session, near the end of the session, Mr. Creek will take you into the actual adventure. Okay, so the way that I normally play the game is we always start in the Nameless Inn, and then Mr. Creek takes you through a door, and the door leads to adventure. Okay. And this allows too that if you're not there one week, if you don't go through the door, you don't appear in the realm where adventure takes place. Okay. The Nameless Inn also has. Sorry, go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah. So the Nameless Inn. So you just said that you don't go through the door, you don't appear in the world. If you're in the Nameless Inn, is that like taking away your name? You don't exist at all in the world in their mind?
No, when you actually enter the Nameless Inn, it's a great question. Part of the process of me integrating you into my story it is required that you have an inn name, that you must name yourself. Now, most characters, I find their first character, they just name whatever their first hero is going to be. But in the Nameless Inn, you can call yourself whatever you want, but I need one specific name that for my record keeping that I will refer to you as. Okay. But in the Nameless Inn, you do have a name. Okay, you absolutely have a name. The main difference is that The Nameless Inn acknowledges that sometimes the hero you start with might not be the hero that you want to keep playing. And what I focuses on is you, Owls the player, Moy the player, Foybles the player, and VektorKat the player. And through the Nameless Inn, because that's technically how you actually reach my adventure, we care about the player more than the hero. So that means that there are things just by playing in the game that if you do make another character can transcend to that other character just because you've been playing.
Cool.
Okay, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So, and you guys will learn about these mechanics but my goal, I don't want you to be overwhelmed by them. I want them to complement the game and not take away from it. So even on my end, there are some things that I will tweak since normally I would play this game in person with you, not over the interweb, as Mr. Creek would call it. Okay, so that, every session. So we're gonna when I take you into the Nameless Inn, we're going to go through a role play sequence, and it'll involve all of you more or less doing the same thing, but it'll also establish some stuff for me. I will be putting you on the spot. I did ask you guys before you came today to think of 2 questions that you need to answer. When I put you on the spot, I want you to think of those questions and for your first character, and it'll matter for what is required of you. Okay. Go ahead. Was there?
I'm going to step away for 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Don't pause it for me.
No, I'll go do your thing.
Just go. Okay. Just go.
I guess at this time, if
well, I have a couple questions about your questions, if I may, Zozo.
Yeah, go for it.
This is a good time to do that. I wanted to know if the setting is Forgotten Realms or if it is completely your division. I guess I'll let you answer that. That may inform what comes next.
Okay, sorry. Could you throw that question at me again?
Yeah, if we have our origin backstory, where are we from? Why are we on the ship? All that. So the where are we from? Is this game taking place in the Forgotten Realms, where we can pick a location we know from 5e and make that work, or do you have a map for us, etc., etc.?
Okay, so it's a great question. You can be from anywhere you want. You can have any story you want, and it can be as real to you as it needs to be in your head. Okay, in the realm that we're going to be playing in, those are all memories. They're all memories that your character believes they have. Okay, whether or not you experience those places, that's actually kind of part of the game, okay, which Mr. Creek will explain in the Nameless Inn, the nature of this universe and what is troubling it. But there was a reason I asked you where you're from. How relevant it is will be totally up to you. However, I am the type of dungeon master or innkeeper. I utilize co-creation in my storytelling.
For sure.
So I want that if you're from Forgotten Realms and you want to make that part of your character, and that maybe you took certain things that are from that region, that's totally all right. Just don't be upset if you never actually see your homeland, and that'll be explained in the story. Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just, in terms of origin, because that was one of the questions, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So yeah, for origin, I always say be whoever you want. You could even literally be one of your favorite characters ever. Okay, that you've been in the past, that in a past D&D game. You'll still be level 1, but yeah, you could have that. You have all their memories, and you can have lots of anecdotes and interesting stories to tell based on that guy. Maybe the last thing you remember is getting killed by a goblin, and then you woke up here, but probably not.
Zozo, it's so funny that you mentioned that specifically, because that's on what I have come to tonight's session 0 with is a collection of people that I feel like I never got to play enough, and I wanted to see what everybody else was doing, and I was going to fit one of them into what you're doing, depending on what everybody else wanted to do. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at this point.
It's like a multiverse.
Yeah. Or it's like I've brought my own party and I'm going to draft one of them, depending on what y'all want to do.
Absolutely. In fact, with how the Nameless Inn functions, because it functions between our reality, so Mr. Creek would call our reality the first realm, and the realm of roleplay, which he calls the third realm. Okay, the Nameless Inn is the second realm. It's in between these two realms, and it's in between imagination and the real world, or the game. And there are mechanics that it can utilize. That's why I'm saying I focus on the player, that the player will earn certain things. So VektorKat will earn certain things that he can then use later for whatever character he wants. And it may well be that the story you want to tell is about this guy who has an intimate connection with this entire party, and he can actually shift and become different characters. And that is something we could explore. Quite literally, the Nameless Inn, it powers the rest of the adventure, but it's a matter of you have to work at it. Okay, which brings me to actually my laws. Okay, so I have laws of play. They're basically my only rules. Okay, and I'm going to share them with you guys now. I have essentially 4 laws. Okay, that how I run the game. Okay, and I'll share this on screen as well later. So 4 laws, although really it's 3, because law 0 is the law of play. Okay, we're here to have fun. We're here to play. By playing, the story comes together. Play is what powers everything that my games do. Okay, so play is critical. It's central. We're here to have fun first and foremost. If any other rule or anything else gets in the way with that we don't care about that rule. Okay, so we're here to have fun. At the end of the day, for me, a good session is one where we all had a good belly laugh, or we all felt a strong emotion, maybe something sad. If I can get you guys and the stream to have a teary-eyed moment, great. I think that's something you'll remember. But we're not here to fight. We're not here to argue. We're not here to be right. We're here to have fun. Okay, so my first law is the law of play, which is law 0. So it's not really, and I emphasize that because it matters most. Okay, so law 0 is the law of play. Law number 1 is the law of plot. Okay, now normally when I play the Dungeons and Dragons, I started my whole mission the last 5 years is to create a game that is able to survive the main reason games fall apart, which is life. Games fall apart because of life. So my philosophy was always that life interrupts. I acknowledge this to be true, but the law of plot is that the plot goes on with or without you. Okay. So now that said, for this particular mission, we're going to work our hardest to just always be here. But life will interrupt, and we're going to figure out a way to always press forward, that if a player's missing, we don't just not play. It's very frustrating if you have ever been in a group, and I'm sure VektorKat can attest to this. If everybody goes and they agree on a time and a place, it's very frustrating if one player suddenly can't make it and the whole game doesn't happen because one player couldn't make it. And that happens all the time. And my experience in the past has been, if you miss one session, that very easily can turn to 2 sessions and very easily can turn to the entire game falling apart. So life interrupts. So that said, the law of plot is also that once you enter my realm, your character becomes part of it. Okay. So if you choose to walk away from the game, your character, basically you acknowledge, like by playing the game, that your character remains as a non-player character. Okay. Especially if we end up building a lot of story around a character. If you decide I don't want to play them anymore, it would be that, okay, they're going to become a background character, but we're still going to utilize them. Mr. Creek kind of has a crazy mission that he wants to save all hero from a villain that he'll introduce you to. You know, the main villain to all hero is that the hero themselves stops playing them, right? And then they cease to exist. So he's almost, it's like he's making a sanctuary for non-player characters. Okay, so that's law one. Law two is the law of tail. Okay, so the law of tail is you get there by going there. Okay, which means that there's no instant gratification. Everything takes time and action. Okay, so anything that's in the player's handbook, if it's in Tasha's, if it's in whatever book, that's your right. Okay, as a DM, I'll make sure you get that. You know, I'm not going to interfere with that. But if it's anything outside the game you're trying to achieve, that takes time. Okay, but at the same time, all right, this is actually fantastic because it allows you to do lots of cool stuff. Okay, within the game. So more or less, just know everything takes time. It takes action. If there's something you want to do that's maybe outside the game, I just need to see it. Okay. Oh, look at that, a subscriber. Well, thank you very much there, RM. It's not RM though. Whenever someone refers to you in chat, they say something else. I don't know how they pronounce. It slipped my mind right now. Anyways. Generally during games, I probably won't acknowledge stuff like that. But we'll probably have a break during sessions where I can acknowledge things of that nature. And then I'd like to have that maybe after sessions, if people want to ask questions, I'll stick around and I'll answer questions. Okay. So law two, the law of tail, get there by going there. It really is connected to law number 3. And it's a mechanic you guys will learn about as we play. Law number 3 is the law of game. Law 4, law 3, the law of game. And the law of game is no, but you can try. Meaning that anything that is not in the player's handbook, anything that is not expressly a 5th edition rule, the default answer will be no, but you can try. Okay? Meaning that if there's nothing in the rules that allow for it, just know that technically you can't do it. That said, I'm going to let you still try. It's going to be up to me, though. Okay. And just because you got it right one time doesn't mean you'll get it right the next time. So what that means is, you know, there might be a situation where maybe you want to do something crazy, like, I don't know, use a door to as a glider to jump off the castle and glide down. Okay, so that might be something where there is no rule in 5e that would allow you to do that. So the default answer would be no. Okay, but this is where law number 3 kicks in. No, but you can try, and I'll let you try. You just have to know that you know that by trying it could go wrong. And this is really connected to the last law, which is you get there by going there. So you get there by going there, and no, but you can try it. What this actually allows you to do, I have game mechanics that would allow you to do things like make magic items of your own, your custom. Doesn't matter if you're not a wizard or a spellcaster, right? Just your capacity to play. Like I said, play powers my entire story. So I do have ways that you can channel that power to doing things. And as Mr. Creek will explain to you, over time, there may be things that you want to do and develop. Maybe it's something like a strange spell. It could be a strange item that maybe you're slowly developing. It could be something as simple as, you know, I want to have that this attack that does poison damage, I'd like it to do necrotic damage. Okay, stuff like that. All right, I love when players try to do stuff like that. And I do have a makeshift system for it. Not makeshift, I have a system for it. However, your journey won't be the same as someone else's journey. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay. So those are my. Oh, go
I
ahead.
have a quick question about that,
Yeah.
though, if I can, just
Yeah.
about Rule 3. What is your preference as a GM about when we ask if we can do X, or Y, or Z? Is your preference for us to say, I want to do this thing, how do I do it? Or is your preference for us to say, can I roll this skill or whatever to accomplish this? Like,
Um,
want us to bring it to you, or do you want to decide what equipment or skills we're using to accomplish our desires?
Generally speaking, it's going to be a mix-up of those options. I would rather you say, you can say, can I do this? And whenever any player asks me, can I do this? I will always respond, I don't know, can you?
Yeah.
So just know that the law I just said, law number 3, no, but you can try. So if it's not in the book, the answer is always no, but you can try. If you want to come up with an idea, you can say specifically, you can tell me, this is what I'd like to do. This is why I think I should be able to do it. And this is like the outcome. I'll hear you out. Okay. And you might even throw in there, I'd like to use this skill for that. Okay. And I'm fine with that. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm also okay with if you say, can I try to do this? And you leave a lot of it blank up to me. I might look at what you're trying to do, look at your character, and be like, okay, try this out, and we'll see what happens. I also do like to have something called a luck check. I'll usually give you 1 a session. It's more actually accurately called, it should be an awesome check. It's really what it is. An awesome check is when you want to do something very audacious, or is there something very cool happening that you want to take advantage of? So, for instance, I'm a big advocate of, say you have a sword and you want it to become a fire sword, okay? I would say, okay, if you want a sword to become a fire sword, whenever there's fire, I want you to interact somehow with the sword and the fire. I want you to take the environment, and I want you to take the sword, and I want you to interact. And I might call upon you if you suggest something particularly amazing. I might say, all right, make me an awesome check. And an awesome check is exactly what it sounds like. There's no failing on awesome check. A 1 is still on an awesome check. It's just a 1. It's a 1 times the awesome. Okay. So when I ask you to make a luck check or awesome check, it'll be a 1 on a d6. You might get 1 a session, and that's if you're trying to do something really wild that's outside the game entirely, or if it's something linked to maybe some sort of interesting ability you're trying to acquire. I might allow you once a round or once a session to make such a check. Okay. But generally speaking, like I said before, I'm a combat at war. I love combat at war. And that's how I want you guys, use the rules if you want, conventional rules, but if you want to think outside the box, go for it. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so that's it for that. Other than that, I need you guys to know that my universe is a reactive universe, meaning that by taking any action in my universe, the universe will react to it. Because I kind of play an open sandbox world, but like I said, it's co-created. So I will take themes that you have. Fortunately for you, I also have an established world that we'll be exploring that you guys have no clue about.
Nice.
So there will be things out there that whether you like exploring or not, you might just run into. At first, you guys are going to be totally new to this story. It's going to take you some time to integrate yourselves and make a name for yourselves. But I think, as you'll see when the story begins, things are a little bit grim where we're going. Okay. So that's it. We're gonna go right now to the Nameless Inn. I'm hoping over the next 30 minutes we'll finish worrying, but this is going to be introduction to your characters. Let's see what we can do.
Right.
Do you have any questions before we enter the Nameless Inn?
No.
Could we take a quick break before we jump into the Nameless Inn?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm very excited. We can't see you, Foybles, so just tell us when you're back.
I will.
I'm gonna quickly go grab some more water because my water tank is empty.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take the opportunity to do the same and splash some water in my face. Like, look at me, I'm glistening.
You are glistening. You hot, dude? Is it how hot is it now? Where are you from? Alberta?
Yeah, Alberta. It's let's see. Today was not quite as hot as yesterday. Yesterday was 118 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. Wow.
Today
That's insane.
is 40.
Oh my god, bro. All right, go wash your face or do something. I'll stay here. I'll look pretty. I will do my thing. Hello, chat. I guess now we can interact. By the way, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Sernka. Oh, hello, VektorKat. Hello.
I guess it's just us girls, eh?
Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, there, bud. What are you drinking? Are
Yeah,
you drinking
just
something
us
today?
two. I am. I've classed things up a bit, just a little bit. I'm
Ooh.
having a Modelo today.
A what? Miguelo?
A Modelo.
Okay. What is that?
So it's still a fairly cheap lager, but it's a Mexican cheap lager. So it's a bit of a step up from the PBR. Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, you stepped up from PBR, so like I'm very proud of you.
Honestly,
I thought at first you said like McClellan. I'm like, oh, the whiskey. I'm like, oh, nice. But
Oh no! I like Macallan. It's not my favorite Scotch. It's pretty good, but I know you like Sapporo.
yeah,
Modelo is similar. It's just not as dry, right? It's more malty and less dry, but you might like it. Yeah.
I had a couple of Mexican
yeah,
beers not too long ago. I don't remember the names of them at all, but they're at my local LCBO because we have a liquor control board of Ontario here. Went over there, got them. It's they're pretty good. As long as it's a lager, I'm pretty sure I'd like it. I'm a big lager guy.
Yeah. Mexico makes good beer, man. They really do. I've yet to have a bad beer out of Mexico somehow. Like it's all good. What are you sipping on, by the way?
Well, right now it's just water, but next week I'll have a better drink for you next week. I've been stocking up my little bar. Okay, I have like
Nice.
because of mixing it with Moy, but now mixing it with Moy is now turning into this. So it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna continue making drinks on the show. So I'm gonna come in with like a weird drink every week and be like, hey, this is what I got. So
It's
right now,
the D and Drinks.
Yeah, there you go, the D&DShow, the Dungeons and Drinks show.
I intend to incorporate it fully into the game.
Yes.
Which is why I likely will open each session in the Nameless Inn, and I'll show you why when Owls returns.
Right on.
But yeah, there's a mechanic that we will explore. I think you guys will have fun with it, and it is very much aligned with this realm of thinking. In this realm of drinking, but of course, you guys, I don't mind if you wish to imbibe in beverages. Some of you will only drink like orange juice, and that's fine. But yes, that's totally okay with me. I might have a beverage from time to time, but there is a game mechanic that I want us to utilize that I'll explain in a moment.
I am back.
You died. Take a shot.
There, excellent.
Is Foybles
And
back?
there's Owls.
Foybles
Right.
not back.
Foybles is back.
Is he?
VektorKat is going to step away real quickly, and then I'll be back.
All right. Foybles is back?
I see him
I
on
am
the
back.
screen.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
All right.
okay. Now we're just waiting on VektorKat and we'll be good. Cool.
You lurking in my chat, Owls?
Yes, I am. I just wanted to see your face because I like that when I see people talking. I don't like hearing voiceless bodies.
No,
Or
that's all.
bodiless voices. That's what I meant to say.
Bodiless. Yeah, I definitely have a voice, and this voice needs a little bit of Dr. Pepper.
That's his drink of choice, Dr. Pepper, I guess.
It's
I
my
must have
beer.
had me-
Yeah.
The best part was the drinks. I must have had me 12 Dr. Peppers.
They had all the Dr. Pepper you could drink.
What's that from? I'm not
Forrest
getting.
Gump.
Oh,
Forrest
okay.
Forrest Gump. Oh, I'm like,
It's
is
been a
this from
long
Simpsons?
time. No, the wife hasn't watched that, so I need to watch it with her.
Wow. I watched.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
it's
never
been
seen
a
it.
long time since I've seen it. Like I was a kid when I probably last watched it, so I wouldn't remember a majority of the movie. I just know,
Yeah,
"Run,
apparently-
Forrest, run."
apparently Tom Hanks, that was one of his highest paying roles ever, and one of the highest paying roles of all time in Hollywood was Forrest Gump.
Really?
It wasn't the top one, but it was one of the highest. Yeah. Like
Is that
top
like
10.
including inflation or?
I don't
imagine
think so actually, because what, it was in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were making pretty big bucks in the 90s still.
Damn.
It's a good movie.
Very
I
Yeah.
like it.
Would you like a box of chocolates?
Mama always said life is like a box of chocolates. You never
know
what
what
you're
you're
gonna
going
get.
to get.
All right, we're
Unless
all
you
back.
read
We're
the
all here.
box.
All right, everyone is back. Everyone is clear. All right, so we are going to begin. So you all suddenly find yourself awakening from a sleep, and it appears that you have fallen asleep in a very comfortable chair. And as you slowly become aware of your surroundings, you can see that there's a fireplace in front of you that looks to be smoldering almost, but you actually realize that while the flame is quite small right now, it's actually getting a little bit bigger as you become more aware of where you are. Each of you sitting there in your chair notice that you're not alone. There are 4 chairs, and each one is occupied by an individual. Owls, why don't you describe to me right now the person sitting in the chair? It could literally look like you are right now, if because I'm going to be putting you all on the spot. Who is sitting in your chair?
All right, so sitting in my chair is a tall, skinny white guy, slightly tanned, devilishly good looking.
Perfect. Good looking, tall, skinny white dude. All right. VektorKat, who's in your chair?
Well, my chair? Excuse me, I spilled a bit. A relatively short, stocky individual in all black, hair short cropped on the sides. In the middle, it goes straight up. In the middle of the inn, sitting by the fire, is still wearing sunglasses for some pretentious reason, and has on a side table beside his chair a selection of beverages, and every now and again, when he gets bored from the conversation surrounding him, he seems to choose which beverage he wants to take a sip from next. The longer you watch him, you realize he's just taking drinks from the servers' trays as they pass by him, and not an ounce of gold has left his purse the entire evening.
Okay, that's true. A server does come by, and while the room is currently dark, you don't know where the server came from. That totally is the situation with this tall, short, stocky individual. Excellent. Moy, who's sitting in your chair?
Sitting in my chair is a middle height, about 6 feet, long black hair that can't be tamed, very strong jawline, as pale as can possibly be, wearing all green and gold and purple. Just look, it's a weird mix of colors, but it's all he has on. He awakens and he's confused. He's a little confused, but he holds his head high as he looks at everyone, staring everybody down, not making sure to stare everybody in the eyes and not looking away until they make eye contact with him.
Excellent. All right, little intimidating, but yeah. All right, Moy. That's sitting in Moy's chair. Foybles, who's sitting in your chair? Not a name, just a description.
There's a relatively young man sitting in the chair. Has slicked back, brownish blonde hair, well kept, and a short trimmed beard, but as well, there may be a little bit of point to the ears. He's wearing relatively rough clothes, but they have been somewhat well kept. And you can tell that he has youthful and almost eloquent tones to his skin, but it's like a polished stone where you can still see the blemishes and the freckles. And it looks like he has some experience to him, like he's been around, but still relatively young in his appearance. And as he awakens, he is making sure to read as much of the room as he can. Okay. He's trying to take in as much information as he can and observe before making a move.
Okay, excellent. Well, the only thing you really observe right now, as you're looking around, is that the fire is slowly growing brighter, and as it does, the features around the room you can sort of make out features in the shadows. But the hearth is really the main focus right now. However, you do take note that that there is a sack beside you there, my young, well-kept Foybles. There's a sack beside you. And the sack has a name on it. And it's written in your handwriting. It's been etched in your handwriting. And it's your name. What is the name?
Mallion Guileson.
Mallion Guileson. Okay.
It's a creative name.
So Mallion, you look upon this sack, and you don't know how, but you know it's yours. And it looks like your own handwriting, like that you have etched this bag. What do you do?
Before quickly reaching to it, I tried to see the size, the weight, and then I extend my arm down to pick it up.
Okay, so yeah, you reach out and you pick it up. Roll. I'm going to determine something right now. Roll for me. Now, because we don't have your camera on, you'll have to use Roll20 for this. I'd like you to roll, and if you're not familiar with how to roll, there is so you've got the little column. I don't know if Moy, we can switch the flame to the screen.
Yep.
So I can help direct everyone here.
Yep, I was waiting for you to do that.
Okay, so if you look on the left-hand side there's a series, there's an arrow, there's a cube, there's a paintbrush, and if you go down, there's a little clock, and then there's a dice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a die 20. I want you to go to the D4, and I want you to roll it.
Okay.
Okay, and then I want you to go to the D20, and I want you to roll it. Okay, you reach with your right hand. Your character is right-handed. One of the few things that I have some control over, unfortunately, if you were really hoping to have a left-handed character. Okay, so yeah, you reach for the sack with your right hand, and yeah, it's definitely, there's something in there. It's got some weight to it. And you are certain that the bag's dimensions may not justify the weight. Whatever it is, you know it's yours. What do you do?
I attempt to lift it up.
Okay.
And I feel like I have the strength to and try to open up the top of it.
Yeah, you open up the top. It looks dark, but there's something in it.
I'm going to reach my hand in.
Perfect. So yeah, you reach your hand in, you firmly grasp something, okay? Now, normally if we were around the table, I would ask you to do this part on your own. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So I will be, with your permission, I will be your surrogate, okay? You are right now, you've gained control. Ah! What's going on? Of Mr. Creek. And my hand is now your hand. Foybles, what are you doing? No. Okay, now, Foybles, I have in front of me a box containing many cards, okay? I'm going to run, you're doing this right now. You're running your index finger up and down the box, all right? I want you to tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Right here? Okay. So, Right here? This one here? Okay. Perfect. So you were asked a couple questions, okay, that you needed to answer. And you reach in and you pull out something very important to you. And while you don't know where you are right now, you don't know what this place is, you do know that this thing is very important to you. It's important to the reason that you're here today. And it may be something linked to the past. It may be something, an heirloom. It's something very valuable to you. What is it that you pull out? It could be anything.
It is a letter from my parents.
Okay, yeah. So you have, it's wax sealed right now. It's to Malian, and it's in your parents, your father's handwriting, and you have it in your possession. And you're going to make note that somewhere, now you guys are going to be assigned character sheets, or you've printed up a character sheet, either one. I want you to record in your gear section, in your equipment section, that you have a creek gift. Okay, this is your gift. Okay, you have a gift, and your gift is a letter from your parents. And I want you to make note of that. And this gift will always be with you. And you know that it's going to be linked to who you become. But you also know that that through this gift, you may be able to do things that you didn't think possible. Okay? So yeah, you have that in your possession, a letter from your parent. There may be a wax seal on it that I might have you describe to me later. It might be your family emblem. I don't know. Whether you choose to open the letter or what have you, it will be a continuous thing that you explore this letter of yours. Or it might be their last words and you want to keep them with you. I don't know. Either way, that is your gift. Make note on your character sheet that you have received a gift, and your gift is a letter from your parents. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Moy.
Yeah.
You're looking around and you notice that this dapper young somewhat pointed ear fellow, he picks up a sack and he pulls out a letter, and you're like, where's my sack? And like you look down and lo and behold, there's your sack. And you know it's your sack because it has your name on it. Your name has been etched in your handwriting. What is that name?
Cyrus the Better.
Cyrus the Better. Did you give yourself this name? That's excellent. Cyrus the Better. Okay. So, Cyrus the Better, you see this sack. You know it's yours. What do you do?
I open it.
Okay,
After I see Foybles, I just want to get right in there.
Yeah. Excellent. So you reach to open it. I want you to roll a die 4.
Okay. I have dice in front of me. Okay. You're gonna have to trust me though. 4.
Okay. 4. Let me just make a note here on Foybles' thing of one thing I forgot. Is the strange markings that are on the letter of Foybles that you don't recognize. But they're there nonetheless.
Strange
okay.
markings.
Yeah, I'll tell you about them in a minute. Okay, so you rolled a 4?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'd like you to roll a d20.
20.
4 and 20. Of course you rolled a 4 and a 20. And I have no way of knowing.
I swear to God, I can take the camera.
You didn't put
I didn't want to roll 20 just because I didn't want to be called out on fake rolls, but I swear to God, it's a 20.
Okay. All right. Well, he albeit for me to call you a liar, so
All downhill from here.
I
it
didn't want
looks
this to
like
happen. I
you-
didn't want this to happen. But I mean, 420 is that's good. That's good. That's
Well, also you have there's no frame of reference for what I'm asking you to do, right?
Yeah.
You're not really sure. Either
Yeah.
way, I can tell you that you're right-handed, and you reach into the sack, and once again, if we were around the table, this would be important that it's an action you do. I would like your consent, as I had with Foybles, to lend you my body. Is that okay with you?
Shouldn't I get your consent so that I can have your body?
I've already given my consent. It's implied. My consent is implied. Okay. I give my consent.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Consent is important, though, Mr. Creek. Consent's important.
we actually it is. In fact, critical to this entire universe is that you must consent to travel, which is something I'll save for a little bit later. Anyways, Moy, I consent.
I consent.
And you. What? No! Wait! Do it! Ah! All right, Moy. All right. You got it out of your system. Okay, Moy. So I am moving my index finger back and forth. Am I going too fast? You want me to slow down or go faster?
Oh, just a little. I like it slow. Let's go slower. Go slower.
Slow. Okay, I'm going slow. You tell me when you would like me to stop.
Only when I finish. Stop.
Okay.
I'm done.
Right there. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, interesting. All right, excellent. So yeah, you reach into your sack and you produce something from your sack. What is it?
A pair of daggers. Handcrafted daggers.
Be specific.
May as well.
2 daggers, eh? Interesting. Okay, so yeah, you pull out. They're kind of attached like scissors right now, and there's one item that you pull out.
Sure.
Because I guess I told you to pull out anything you like, but very good. It will function as a pair of daggers. Okay. You pull out this pair of daggers. You know that these daggers represent a lot about you, where you're from, and seeing them reaffirms to you that there's great purpose to why you're here. Is there anything special about these daggers I should know about right now?
They are a family heirloom.
Okay, very good. Family heirloom. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, you have in your possession, so this is your gift, your Creek gift, and it is a pair of daggers. Given the nature of it, though, it counts as like an item. Okay, but
That's okay
you said a pair, so that's fine. So you have yourself a pair of daggers, family heirloom, in your possession, and this is good. You know, this is a good thing. But they seem kind of old. You notice daggers seem a little old. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. VektorKat.
Am I putting daggers in my thing?
Yeah. So record on your character sheet. Say it's this is under your gear. Okay. It is important that you mark it as a gift.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, I should have told you both to do this. When you write the word gift, just to emphasize it, I'd like you to write it in capitals, please. If you can modify that. None of you should be using pen. Okay. Pen is illegal in Dungeons and Dragons. Illegal. Okay. So just in all capital letters, gift.
Pair of daggers.
And pair of daggers. Excellent. VektorKat. You're having
too precious of me to request to go last?
Yeah, you can go last. That's fine.
Okay, going next.
Owls.
Wow.
Owls. So you're looking at owls. You're like, these guys, they got sacks. What's going on? Where's your sack? And just as you think that, you see a sack, and the sack has your name on it, written in your handwriting, etched in your handwriting. Tell me, please, what name is on the sack?
Well, it's terrible handwriting, hardly legible, but I do recognize it as my own. And on it is Daijken.
Daijken, excellent.
Creative.
Felt exactly
Very,
the same as
very
my
creative.
own name.
Super, super creative.
Now you know how to pronounce it,
okay.
though.
Yeah. Now, well, I'll still butcher it. There's always room to butcher Owls' name. Daijken.
There you go.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So the name Daijken. See, I just heard it and I already can't pronounce it. All right. You see that name etched on the sack. It's your sack. What do you do?
I promptly and enthusiastically pick it up and open it.
Excellent. So you reach for the sack. So just like I had with Foybles, if you could go to the dice roller there, unless you have your own dice too and that you want to secretly roll.
No, secretly rolling things, not my style.
Excellent. So I'd like you to roll a die 4. Okay, you rolled a 1. Excellent. And then I would like you to roll a die 20 and a 6. You are also left-handed, my friend.
I'm left-handed?
He's
sorry,
left-handed?
right-handed. Sorry, right-handed. You are also right-handed.
I'm just like, yes, I'm
Yeah,
different.
no. None of you. I would be very surprised if any of you end up being left-handed. Okay, so yes, you reach in, and yeah, there's something in there. Now, once again, Owls, I give you my consent to take possession of my left hand, or right hand rather, right hand. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm going to. Oh, you didn't try to kill me or rub me? Oh, that's nice. Oh, you got right to work. Okay, wow.
I'm
serious.
perfectly okay with this.
This
It's
is
not the
good.
first time.
This is excellent. Obviously, you seem to be the type that dabbles in mind control. Is there a speed you'd like me to stroke these?
Medium pace.
Medium pace. Okay, I'll keep my pace going
Yes.
as is.
Stroke
All
it
right.
3 times exactly. Stop, and begin again the other way twice, and then
Okay.
stop.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, stop. 1,
Punch.
2,
Stop.
stop.
Meanwhile, he's just
here?
having it right there, not moving
There
at
we
all.
No. Huh. Okay. All right. Excellent. You produce something from it. You know that it's significant. You know that I asked you 2 questions before this session began. This item that you possess is linked to that somehow, that past, that history. What is this significant item that you draw?
It is a small triangular device. Appears to have some functionality to attach itself to the side of your head, and on it is inscribed iPhone Zeta.
All right. Somewhere a fourth wall is dying.
I also happen to know that it's called a focus.
All right, excellent. So it's a triangular device.
Yeah.
Like pyramid,
And
like the 4-sided dice, like a pyramid sort of thing, or
No, more flat.
Like
You know, it's
flat.
just
Yeah?
a triangle, flat, goes on the side of your head.
And it goes on the side of your head.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to assume it would connect to a headband in this case. It's got a little clip on it.
Yeah.
That yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to call it a triangle angle. Okay. Excellent. So you have this triangle angle. So make note on your character sheet in capital letters the gift word, and I've called it a triangle angle. You can call it, I suppose, whatever you like. What did you want to specifically call it?
A focus.
A focus. Okay. Oh, it's a focus. I see. You wish it to be like a focus. Yeah, that's fine. All gifts
That's just
can
what
be.
it's called. It has no relation to anything in Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. I'm going to
boy.
call it a triangle focus. Okay. So you have a triangle focus in your possession. You feel good having it. You know that something about your past is true, and this gift I gift to you. Excellent. Let me just make a note here. And it is a triangle focus. Excellent. All right, VektorKat, the time has come. You have witnessed the other three hero at the party, at the table, each open a sack, and yours is you saw it right away, but you preferred the copious amount of beverages that you keep getting brought. But you decide maybe it is time for you to take a look down at this sack, and look down. You do, and on it you see a name written in your handwriting. What is the name?
And we're still in the inn at this
Correct.
point, right?
Yes.
The name on the sack at this point is VektorKat.
Very good.
Oh, good point. Shoot.
All right. Yeah, it could be. It could have been Moy. It could have been anything you wish.
No.
But now it is permanent.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Very, very good. So you see VektorKat scribed on the sack. You know it is yours. What do you do?
I nudge it firmly with one of my feet.
Okay. You nudge it firmly with one of your feet.
I give it a little kick just to see if like anything in there is either alive or not. I want to know what I'm dealing with.
You're not sure what's in there. And kicking it, it's whatever is in there doesn't seem that it can be removed by kicking it. It's not that sort of sack.
For sure. In as much as there's no reaction from inside the bag, I feel comfortable investigating what's inside it at this point.
Okay, excellent. So what do you do?
I'm gonna open it up, and before I place my hand inside it, try to rummage around or pull anything out. I wanna open it up, see if I can get it into some good lighting, see if I can see anything inside it before I put part of my body into it.
Sure. Either way, you reach for it. As you do, roll a die 4 and a die 20.
Dokie. Oh wait, no, I've got the roll 20. I can do it in the thing.
You can.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I haven't done this before. Here we go. All right, so 1d4.
A 1d4, a 4. Okay, excellent. And
Okay,
1d20. And excellent.
that's 15. Okay, cool.
You are also right-handed, my friend. And you reach for it with your right hand. And indeed, you feel around in the sack. You're certain there's something in there, but you can't discern just by its weight. But there's definitely something in there. What do you do? Oh, wow. Oh, man. Whew.
I was so curious on what these are, man. Like, I have just no idea.
So is it up to me what this item is, or do I continue to investigate?
Well, you can't roll d20s in the Nameless Inn, except for the one that you just rolled. So it's all role play. So how would you like to investigate it?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like imply capital I investigate. I mean, like, is it up to me what's in the bag, or do I?
Right now, it is a sack. You know something is in it. So far, you've seen 3 other hero reach into the sack and pull something out. It seemed to be an important mechanic.
I feel as though I am compelled to search within this bag for something that I surmise is important.
Okay.
And yet, for some reason, whatever is in my bag seems very, very small, and it seems difficult for me to grasp and understand.
Okay. So yeah, when you put your hand, you're putting your hand in the bag, correct? You're rummaging through it?
My right one, indeed.
Sure. Excellent.
Yeah.
So you start to rummage through it, and you feel something sharp, you feel something round, you feel something flat, something cold, something kind of gravelly. You feel lots of different things. And eventually your hand grabs something, feels something remarkable. And it just, this feels like whatever it is, this is the right thing that you were looking for. And like, you can try all you want to like look in the bag, it just doesn't seem to work that way. It's dark, and you can't seem, until you actually grab and pull something out, you can't seem to make out anything.
Good try.
But you found this one thing. What do you want to do?
But through feeling what this thing is, I can understand what it is.
I don't know. We won't know until it's like a Skinner box, you know. The cat is both alive and dead until you pull it out. So
What? Schrodinger, but yeah,
Schrodinger, yeah, Skinner.
Yeah. So I can grab the thing and pull it out.
Yeah.
I do that.
Okay, you grab whatever it is that you grabbed and you pull it out. You were asked a couple questions before we began today, and you look upon this item, and you're not sure how it got here, but you know it's significant to whoever you are. What is it that you pull out?
I pull out a flint whetstone that seems to radiate heat from within it.
Okay, so you pull out this flint whetstone, and once again, VektorKat, I am giving you permission to inhabit my body, okay? And I am going to... What's this? You want me to open my bank account and transfer to what address? No, VektorKat, stop! Okay, VektorKat, I am moving my finger up and down here, okay? Am I going too fast, too slow, or is this just right speed?
Stop.
Right there? Wow, no one's ever drawn from that part. Okay, interesting. Oh. That whole thing made sense. All right, excellent. Well, you pull out, it's a say that again, it's a flint
Whetstone.
It's a whetstone. Okay.
Sharpening knives, etc.
I know what a whetstone is.
It somehow has a kind of it's solid, and it has a firmness on the outside, but radiating from within it has this oddly organic and warm interior heat coming out from the middle of it.
All of what you just described is true. And it is indeed that. And you take note that there does seem to be some strange symbols on one side of it that you almost don't take notice of, and then you look and like, okay. But either way, it's as you described, and you may record on your character sheet that you have a gift, capital G, capital I, capital F, capital T, a gift, and your gift is a whetstone. All right, so each of you now has in your possession a gift, and as you remark at each of your gifts, collectively having experienced open them, you notice that someone's watching you. And you don't know where they came from, but it looks that there is, beside the hearth, this fireplace, there's a door. And it's a red door, faded, very faded red door. And it's got some strange markings on it, but standing beside that door, so there's the hearth, the door, standing beside that door, leaning against the wall, is a man, a human. He is dressed in a dark blue smoke jacket. He's wearing, sporting a nice tie. Tie has a little gem in it. He has a vest on of fine blue silk. and he seems to be wearing a blue shirt. And he's looking at you rather puzzled, but also like a puzzled, like an excited puzzled, like
Intrigued.
realizing that, you know, it's maybe something that you've lost, that you found it, like that sort of whoa, you know, intrigued look. And you know, he's not looking really at you right now. He's looking at the fireplace, and he's like, he goes in front of it and he kneels down, and oh, how is this? Where did the flame come from? Impossible. They're gone. They're all. And then he turns around and he sees you, and he's taken back. Oh, heroes? Are you? Are the four of you heroes? This shouldn't be possible. Where did you come from? How did you get here?
Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe? Is that some sort of strange reference to your god or deity? Cotton Eye Joe. I'm not familiar with him.
I'm just as confused as you are. I wouldn't be resistant to passing through this door, as it seems as though this inn is growing a bit stale. No offense to the proprietor, but if you're inviting me, at least, to pass beyond the threshold here, I would only assume that those in my company would at least be interested in joining me.
Man,
I mean, I don't want to
too
slow.
slow. Who are you? And where are we?
Who the hell are all of you? I'm very, very confused right now. I don't like this.
Why am I here? Like,
looking at VektorKat with his like, okay, he wants to go through the door. He's looking at oh my goodness, Daijken. It's gonna take me a while. It's just because the way I have to spell it phonetically. I think D.
Daijken. D-A-Y.
Daijken. Daijken. Okay, I'm so sorry. It takes Daijken. I got it. Daijken. Okay, so he looks between Daijken. You look very confused. VektorKat's making demands. People, Foybles and Moy are asking where are they, and he says, "All right. Settle down. First of all, my name is Mr. Creek. I am what is left of the proprietorship of this place, the Nameless Inn.
Hello.
This fire has not burned for a very long time. I have been alone with but a most irritating chef for quite some time. You're the only company I've seen, so this is good. And you are heroes, yes? Points to each of you. You are heroes, right?
I'm offended you even have to ask, honestly.
Oh, well, it's been quite some time, you see, that we've had any guests here, let alone heroes. And this should not be possible. You're all ended. Where did you come from?
What do you mean ended?
Yeah, what?
Ended.
The last thing I remember is I tried to start a revolution, but then I got sent through the rift, and now I'm here.
I'm sorry, but the world you came from is likely ended as well. It's done. It ended. It's the end.
Well, that's really sad, eh?
Of course it's sad. I haven't seen any of the heroes I knew and loved. Estella, Gert, the Dark Child, all of them gone. Faded away. I tried to bring them here, but I failed. I failed them all. But you're here, so maybe there's still hope. You see, there's a great darkness that has spread across the world that I know, and is known only as the end. It is the end of all tale. It is the fading away of of caring, of sharing, of telling each other stories. It is hopelessness, and it is loss, and it is gone, and it has come for all of them, and my world is gone as well. This place has not existed, at least been brightened, in many, many years. So sorry for the confusion, but I'm elated and terrified that some of you were able to find your way here to my inn. Glorious. Well, where are my manners? Yes, as I said, my name is Mr. Creek, and I am the lone innkeeper here at the Nameless Inn. It is not what it used to be. As he looks around, you can see that things have started to lighten up a bit. But the inn currently consists of the hearth, the 4 chairs in front of it, and you can just make out a bar that's just behind you guys. To the left, there's a bar, but the bar looks empty as well. I don't even have someone to tend bar anymore. It's most distressing. If only there was a little more something, a little more oomph, I could do something. I could change things, perhaps. Yes, perhaps one of you could help me. Perhaps all of you could. He looks like he hasn't talked to anyone in a while. What do you guys do?
Mr. Creek, if I may. If you don't
Yes.
mind. I'm not one to continue indulging myself when there's potential intrigue afoot, but I will happily sling for you and the rest of your party here if manning the bar is something that will aid you. Otherwise, I'm ready to alight myself beyond these walls as soon as the rest of those presents here are amenable to such endeavors. Anyway, but if you want me to help out behind the barkeep station, let me know. Otherwise, I'll stay comfy, I guess. Amenable to either.
Well, you certainly seem like a man who knows his drink.
He does seem to know a man. But he looks at all the drinks that you've drunk, and you've had quite a few drinks that some server that we don't really see, right? But just server keeps bringing you drinks, and he looks at how many drinks, and he's like, don't want to go bankrupt. Maybe how about you just drink the drinks, and one of your companions can help me at the bar. What about you? Yes, you.
I never drink before a quest.
You never drink before a quest? Well, we'll see. Cyrus the Better, he points at you. And he looks at your getup. Your green, gold, purple getup. And he looks at you and he goes, oh, that jaw. Oh, you would make a fantastic bartender. What do you say? You want to tend my bar here when we get our days rolling each week? What do you say?
I serve no one. Do you know who I am? I don't think you. What planet is this? Where am I? Where are we? You said we're at the end. What planet? Where is the end?
The end? No. You're in my inn. The inn exists between realities. You see, the world that you come from, I refer to it as the first realm. It is the realm of tablets, taxes, and tacos. You work there, you believe yourself to be in front of a computer monitor, there's a camera likely on you, you're utilizing all sorts of technology to project yourself. Very fascinating. That's your world. This world is the second world, is the second realm. It is a realm of pure imagination. It used to be quite larger. It used to be quite vibrant. There used to be many people here. Unfortunately, the end came some time ago to my inn, and, well, it took them all from me. And I've been alone here for quite some time. The doors to my inn are gone, save for this one. And he points to the door beside the hearth. And it is a faded red door with strange markings on it where maybe one would expect numbers to be. It is the only door that seems to be left here. And through it, I hope, is whatever remains of the realm beyond. I call the third realm. It is where the two realms meet, you see, imagination and reality. But the end came there too, and I fear that it is all gone. But there was a prophecy that suggested, it was a forbidden prophecy, that one day after the end, a band of heroes would come from a very strange place, meeting through an ethereal web, and they would bring hope back to our world. Reignite the spark, as it were. Perhaps even find things that were lost and bring them back as well. Perhaps bring us all together one day again. But neither here nor there. While you're here in my inn, I will answer any question that I can. I am well versed in your game, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm well aware that you're playing it right now, even though it doesn't feel that way. While we're here, there really is no fourth wall. However, the irony is, it is a realm of pure imagination, so you sort of have to run with it. There are mechanics here that your imagination can channel into your game of Dungeons and Dragons, and it is my hope that you will visit here at least every few weeks to rest your bodies and perhaps make a few decisions, modifications, changes. You might decide that the character you're playing isn't suiting you and you wish to explore another path. That can be done here. One day we may decide you wish to, we can unlock one of the other doors in the inn, maybe that starts working again, and we can venture into a game that's not Dungeons and Dragons. Perhaps Call of Cthulhu, who knows? But while we're here right now, for the next several weeks, I will be your innkeeper. All of our adventures will begin here, and you will go through that door to get to the realm beyond. Every adventure will end with the sound of 3 knocks, at which time you will return here to the Nameless Inn. Beyond that, if a bartender is available to serve, there are certain benefits, I believe, can be gleaned daily from the Nameless Inn during your adventures. But to do this, we're going to need to establish some first-realm conduits, as it were. The next time you travel here, there's something I need you each to do for me. I'd like you each to find a glass or a goblet or a cup. Some kind of drinking apparatus, but I want it to be something that's somewhat special to you. And by all means, take your time finding it. It could be a mug to begin with, but either way, bring it with you because one of you is going to make us a beverage each day here at the bar. And when you do, there may be a way for your heroes to imbibe of that beverage. You see, believe it or not, there are people watching you right now in your first realm. And I'm figuring out a way through my devices. It's called Blinky, but he's a little shy, doesn't want to see you right now, in order to channel some of my power to you. But I'll need the help of your friends that you've brought with you to watch. So for next time, I want you each to bring a cup. And the bartender will make whatever drink they want. And whatever drink you put in your cup, at least from the Nameless Inn's perspective, will be that beverage. And there will be a way for our viewers at home to allow you to drink of that beverage so that you may gain some sort of benefit during your adventures. Does that make sense?
It's clear.
Is it clear? Excellent.
I look over to Foybles and I'm like, is this a game show? Are we on the Hunger Games? What is this?
And yes, it's a perfectly cromulent question. It is somewhat of a game, isn't it? He's like being rude and sort of he's overhearing. You're talking in front of him, so he knows what you're saying. beyond beverages, perhaps we can expand into snacks. Who knows? We'll see. We'll figure it out as we go. But each week we will load the game here. We'll start, and if there's any questions you need to ask me, I will of course answer them. And we will spend some time making your characters. Now, do any of you not have a character made?
No, I haven't. I haven't made the character. I know who he is and where he's from, but I don't know what he is.
I do not have a character made at all.
That's perfectly all right. Now, I believe Moy, did you make your character already?
Yeah, I have a character.
Excellent. Moy, sorry, Sirius. And the same is true of you, Malayan, is it? Malayan? Malian. I'll get it eventually. My alter ego, Razing Zozo, is notorious for butchering names, but Mr. Creek tries a little harder. So Malian, excellent. Malian, did you already make a character?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to right now. This whole thing has been our session 0. You have actually provided me with invaluable information for how we'll navigate the realm when you arrive there. But for right now, in order to play this game, Dungeons and Dragons, each of you will need an avatar to represent you in the third realm, which is a character. You'll need a character, a hero, as it were. Now, to do this, we're going to utilize the Roll20. We can use the character sheet on here. Ultimately, if you want to have a paper sheet, that's fine. But for the convenience that this brings us until we make our format more conducive to using paper, which we may well explore. Until then, I think we should utilize our Roll20 because it's actually very convenient. You're able to have your entire character sheet there, and especially for a new player, everything's at your fingertips. You don't need to pore over any books. Everything is available to you. Okay. Now, are any of you completely unfamiliar with Dungeons and Dragons to the point that you don't know what the basic classes are?
That would be me.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our characters together right now. I hope for anyone who is available to stick around. And I'd like to help you all do it simultaneously, if possible. Now, the most important thing that you need to do when you start making a character is actually roll its stats. Okay. Now, I hope none of you have rolled your stats because this is something where it kind of needs to be done publicly. Okay.
Oops.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you took the point buy, which is an option. You do not have to roll a character in Dungeons and Dragons. You can take what is called a point buy, and in a point buy, you will assign your scores. Now, how this game works is every character. Let me see if I can pull up a character here. Maybe one of these older characters. Every character has a character sheet. Okay, so here is one character sheet. Okay, and all of you will end up. I've assigned each of you. So hopefully, if you go to the journal, which is on the right-hand side, I'm presuming you guys can see my mouse, right?
No.
Oh, you can't see my mouse. You can't see my mouse moving around? Oh, okay. I guess we can...
I do see the journal, though.
Yeah, I see the journal, too.
Is it... Oh, I think it's because we're looking at it from Moy's perspective, not mine.
Yes,
okay.
Correct.
Okay, excellent. Well, if you look on the journal there and you click on that, you will see your name there. Okay, with a little blank icon. Okay, so what I want you to do is open up your name, and I'm just going to Moy. Okay, maybe I didn't share it with you. Hold on. It can be edited.
I do not see my name either.
I see a whole lot of weird characters and a mysterious note.
Oh wait, I'm at the very top. Oh yeah, okay, I'm at the very, very top. My bad.
Yeah, go to the very, very top, and each of you should, in theory. I'm just double checking to make sure that it can be edited and controlled by Foybles. I'll turn this part of it on too. Maybe that'll help you save it.
Oh, there I am.
Okay, you see it now? Okay, Owls, Can you see yours?
No.
Okay.
Mine's like above all those characters. There's like a section, like a section that says characters. Mine's above that.
Owls, can you see it now?
Ah, yes.
Perfect. Vector, can you see yours?
Where am I supposed to be looking?
Okay, so it's journal, okay, which is in the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, you'll see so you're going to see a little chat box, like it'll be the two little chat bubbles. Beside it is an art library. It's a couple pictures, and then it kind of looks like a newspaper. Okay, and it says journal.
So I see draw shape. I see the magnifying glass.
Other side.
Right side.
Right side.
Where the chat is.
You'll see a gear. Okay, so there's a little chat bubble. Little chat bubble there. Beside it is a couple. It looks like a picture, like the icon for a picture. It says art library, and beside that it says journal.
I think you only have art library. So the second tab is journal for me.
I'll rejoin as a player so I can see exactly what
I see characters.
Yeah,
and then I see,
yeah.
And then I see info on D&D 5e.
Do you see your character? Do you see a character that says Vector?
No, I haven't made a character.
Well, of course not, because I haven't given you your character. Like I am currently giving you your character sheet. This is the act of giving your character sheet. Okay, so let me just double check that everything. Okay, it's just not visible in your journal. Okay, here we go. VektorKat.
I don't.
Boom. Now you should be able to see it.
Journal?
I know. Okay, so now you should be able to see. If you go to journal and click on it, you should be able to see Vector, the name Vector.
All right, hang on. Reloading. Okay. So I have characters here. I have Albiro, Barson.
Right above that.
Yeah, I didn't. I have to clear out the older characters here, which I'll right now do. Just I don't want to confuse you guys.
Okay.
Here.
So I have bio and info.
Excellent. So you have a character sheet. All right. Archive. Okay, so now the only thing that you guys should really see once I'm done this little bit of archiving are your options. Okay, and I apologize that it just slipped my mind to clear that up. Okay, so you see Vector. You're able to click on Vector. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see bio info. Beside that tab is character sheet.
Yep.
For sure. I see it.
All right, there we go. So this is a 5e character sheet. Okay. So in this particular case, you can stretch it to look at it. Let me just give you a quick introduction here. Okay. So along the left-hand side there, those are your ability scores. They are pretty much what make up your character. They determine your physical attributes and your mental attributes. Okay. The first one is strength. Your strength is your capacity to carry heavy objects or to swing a sword really good. Okay. So if you have a high strength score, you will be able to do like extra damage with your sword. You'll be able to hit better. So basically, all of these scores are between 3 and 18. Okay, a 3 is a bad score. Okay, a 3 it means that you're getting big minuses to your character, whereas a 18 is a great score. Okay, the highest you can start with in any given stat, okay, is for a roll is an 18. Okay, so every 2 points that an ability score has above 10 gives you a +1 to a bunch of stuff. Okay, so for instance, strength. If you had a strength of 10, you have no bonus. But if you had a strength of 12, you have a +1. 14 +2. 16 +3. 18 +4. Okay, those modifiers, that plus, or conversely, it can be a minus. If you have an 8 in an ability, it's a -1. If you had a 6 in an ability, it's a -2. You had so on and so forth, I think down to -5. Okay, so these represent more or less your character's physical and mental attributes. there are two ways that you can fill these guys up. One is with a point buy system, which I can go through. More or less, you're just going to assign numbers to them, or you can roll them. Now, I think for the fun of it, I'd like you all to roll. Unless someone has they're really against rolling. I think for this we should roll. Okay.
Okay. I'll roll whatever you want.
Does anyone? Okay, excellent. Okay.
So am I using this Charactermancer edit sheet directly? Like, what am I doing here?
We'll do the edit sheet directly for this because the main thing for today is we don't have to make all of our characters. We can we can do that later. But the main thing is anything that I need to see, we're going to get done now, and I'm just going to introduce some basic concepts of the game to you. Okay.
All right.
Now, ultimately, the Charactermancer is pretty fantastic. I'm just going to open one for myself, so that's under my control. Okay. And character sheet. Charactermancer. Okay. And the reason the Charactermancer is actually, you know what? Yeah, let's use the Charactermancer because that way by the end of it, you guys will all have a made character.
Shoot, how do I go back?
So my apologies. What I'm going to do is this. I will make it so that you can do that. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna start. Boom. So all your characters, just because that's a screw up on my part, I'm just going to start this again. Yeah, you want to do the Charactermancer. For me, I would do not the Charactermancer just because I know what I'm doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, the Charactermancer is actually fantastic. It literally lets you make your character. So Moy, in Moy's journal, and can be edited by Moy. There you go. So yes, Moy, click open her up and do the Charactermancer.
Thank you. Perfect.
And this will be Vektor, and in Vektor's journal, and in Vektor's control. Save changes. Okay, there you go. VektorKat. You're gonna go same thing. Charactermancer. Okay.
Okay. So this is different from where I am now.
I should not have told you to do the manual. That was silly of me. That is my mistake. I apologize. Because the Charactermancer is like actually super convenient. And sort of what makes this program so fantastic. Owls, there we go. Done. Okay. And then Foybles. Okay. So Foybles, did you go and roll your character and everything?
Well, I did a character sheet, and I did actually work on my stats last night, but I'm perfectly fine just rolling for new stuff.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're each going to roll stats.
I don't see my name yet, though.
Yeah, I'm just giving you your right now. There you go, Foybles. Okay.
Where do we find Charactermancer?
So when
you open your character sheet.
When you open your character sheet, you're going to go bio info. Beside that is your character. When you click on that, you're going to see 3 boxes appear. Select the first one, Charactermancer.
VektorKat, I don't see you in the game anymore.
He left.
Okay, my games. Lake of Grace, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Journal.
And I assure you, once we get started, it's very, very easy to make your character. Okay. So before we roll them, just a really quick overview of the character score. So strength is for swinging a sword, lifting stuff. Dexterity is dodging stuff and throwing stuff. Constitution is your ability to have lots of hit points and resist things like poison. Okay. Intelligence is your capacity for knowledge skills, like just general knowledge, except for like wizards and a couple other classes. Very few benefits for intelligence. Wisdom is your intuition. So it's how strong your mind is in a lot of ways, but it's also things like things like sensing if someone's lying to you. Okay, is your it's like your sixth sense almost, your intuition. And then your charisma is how manipulative or inspiring or charming or whatever it is. If you're planning on being a spellcaster, most of the spellcasting classes use either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma as their main scores. Now, the cool thing about 5th edition is ultimately whichever class you end up taking, unless you multi-class, really, you'll only need 1 or 2 stats to actually be high. And usually you want to have a decent constitution if you can, just because it affects your hit points, which is how much damage you can take before you die. Okay. So for instance, if you have a high constitution, like a 14, you would get a +2 every time you roll for hit points. So every time you gain a level, you get more hit points. You would get whatever dice you roll +2 more, right? And that really adds up. So usually it's important, or if you're going to be like a fighter, you usually want to have lots of hit points. Okay. So how this works is I want you guys with the character mancer, you'll see it says start, race, class, and abilities. Okay. I want you guys all to click on the abilities one, and you'll see it lists, it'll say strength, dexterity, constitution. Right now they're all blank. Okay. And you'll see hit points. And then below that, it says ability score method. Okay. So what you're going to do, click on that. And I want you to go down to roll for stats.
Heck yeah.
Okay, does everyone see it? Roll for stats?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So you'll then see select your choice. Okay, roll 64, drop the lowest. So this is how we're actually going to make our character. So what that means is when you click that button, don't click it yet. When you click that button, it is going to roll for you 4 die 6. So 4 6-sided dice. And it's going to do that 6 times, okay? Every dice roll of those 4 dice, it's going to drop the lowest dice. So if you rolled like a 6, a 3, a 2, and a 1, the 1 will get taken away, okay? So in the end, you're left with an array of 3 6-sided dice, but you always drop the lowest one, which gives you the chance of a higher score, okay? When you do that, we will have 6 scores between a 3 and an 18 that we will be able to assign to each of those. Okay. Now, whatever character you ultimately, so if you want to be a rogue or a wizard or whatever, that will affect where you should put those stats. Okay. And we can roll for them, but we don't have to put anything in until you've figured out what class you want to be. Okay. So right now, I'll get people to roll their character mancer. Okay. So I'm giving an example right now. Okay, so there you go. I just rolled, and those are the rolls that I got. Okay, so rolled a bunch of dice. Roll number 1 was a 14, a 13, a 14, a 12, an 8, and a 14. All of you are going to do the same. You're going to roll the dice. Okay, there's Moy. There's Foybles. Okay, no.
When I press the button, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I had to like in the chat box, make sure it's like as and then your character instead of like your name.
Yeah, it should, when you roll, it should appear in the chat box.
Yeah, I had to click it a few times.
Yeah, give it a there you go. Perfect. Okay, Owls, and then VektorKat. Foybles, your character's pretty fantastic. Perfect for a generalist bard style character, as nice. I'm guessing that's what you're doing.
So should I roll stats now before I know what I want to do, or should I wait?
Yes, you have to roll. You have to know your stats before you can do anything. It's the first thing you do in the game. That it's where it is has nothing to do with the order of how you make your game. So yeah, you got to roll your stats. You haven't assigned anything. You're just rolling them. Okay. So are you able to roll for yours, Vector? There you go. There they are. Okay,
17.
now
let's go.
Now,
oh man,
does anybody now? Because I am a generous DM. Okay, if anyone is not happy with their character, I have no problem with them doing 1 reroll. Okay. But it's ultimately you have to choose between one or the other, the first roll or the second roll. So since I'm giving you that option, I guess everyone should take advantage of it, that you can roll twice and take, but it's the block You're not
Okay.
picking and choosing which dice you want. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna reroll.
I'm okay with that. If you're not happy with your character,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm taking
you
the
can
first
reroll.
one. Oh my god.
Yeah, your first one's way better.
Second one's terrible.
VektorKat. Second one
Oh, the
is way
second
better.
one. Holy smokes, dude.
Yeah, VektorKat's second one is way better. Owls 215s is pretty good. What was your first
Yeah, I'm
one?
taking
Yeah. And I love a low score. I love a 7. I think a low score gives flavor to your character.
Mhm.
Okay, and then if you wish Foybles, you can do a second roll as well.
I'm good with mine.
You're
Yeah,
content.
you're just really
it's
good.
pretty
man.
amazing.
Oh
It
my
is
God.
pretty amazing. Okay.
Intelligence gets the 7.
Okay, perfect. Now, so here's the next part of this. So those are your stats. You're not assigning anything yet because you have to decide what class and race you're going to be.
I already
Okay.
did that.
Perfect. If you already know, fantastic. Does everyone already know?
Yeah.
Or would
I do,
would they like me to give a brief description of the classes? You're already content?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So, choose.
I am hoping to hear like what everybody else is doing. So
That's what
You
we're.
go last then. You go last.
You can
Okay.
you can go last. Okay, so Foibles, since I know you've already got it down, what did you choose for your class?
Half elf. Oh, sorry. That's my race. Class is bard.
Half elf bard. You know what's funny? The description of your character, I knew you were a half elf bard. Like just like listening to you, I was like, okay, he's a half elf bard. Okay, excellent. So, so first you've determined your race. Okay, so half elf there. So the half elf, each race will give you different powers. The cool thing is humans a pretty fantastic race to be if you want to be human. It's very simple because it just gives you like an extra feat. So either way, whatever race you choose is going to affect your ability scores. Okay. Each class has certain ability scores they want to have high stats in. Okay, and this is actually in your description of your class. Usually, it'll say near the end what it suggests are your best scores. So I believe the bard, for instance. Bards use charisma to cast all their magic, so they want to have a high charisma. And generally, depending on the type of bard you are, you usually want a high dexterity and constitution, or high dexterity and or strength and constitution, depending on the type of bard you are. Okay, so what, pray tell, Moy, did you choose?
I chose a elf rogue.
An elf rogue. Okay, very cool. An elf rogue. Now, the elf has several subspecies. Do you know which you'd like to choose?
Actually, I don't. I only really chose elf because it gives me +2 dexterity. So.
Okay. There are a few races that give you a +2 to dexterity. So
what
the
elf
neat thing-
seems okay? What elf seems
Okay,
okay?
yeah. So you choose for most of these, they'll have a sub race. So there's elf, and then the subspecies would be wood elf or drow or whatever, and each one of them is going to give you different things. So you want to be a rogue. So yeah, usually dark elves make good rogues, but so do wood elves.
Oh no, yeah, dark elf. This is exactly what I want. Charisma and dexterity. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Perfect. All right, excellent.
Hey, quick question, really quick.
Yeah.
If I'm happy with my abilities, do I click next on that screen?
Yeah. So once you've chosen your race and you're content with it, and you're content with your class, you choose next. Yeah. So usually, now that you have your ability scores, it's best choose your race and then choose your class. Owls, do you know what race you want to be?
I'm a human.
Okay, excellent. Humans are great. And you notice that, like, I have a lot of books, so there are monstrous races possible there. Excellent. A human. What sort of human are you going to be?
I'm a ranger.
A human ranger. Excellent.
Of the north.
Of the north. So the human there's two types of humans that you can be. There's the human variant, and there is the standard human. The human variant is what I always suggest everyone be if they're going to be human. The difference is the standard humans are like jacks of all trades, so they just get a +1 in all of their abilities, which is fine. But the variant human has that they get 2 of their abilities increased by 1. Okay, so 2 abilities are increased by 1, and then they get a bonus proficiency and a bonus feat. So in this game, feats are a big deal. Most classes don't even have access to a feat until level 4. Humans get to start with a feat with the variant human. The trade-off is that you don't get a +1 in every stat. Instead, it's only 2 that you're choosing. But it's way worth it. It's totally worth it. Humans also, though, are the only species that doesn't get a +2 in any particular stat, right? It's a smaller bonus. So would you like to be a standard human or the variant human? I would recommend the variant, but it's
I'm a variant human.
Excellent. Fantastic. Okay. And then what class did you go with?
Class. Where is class? What did I choose? All right, we're not there
Ranger,
yet.
you said,
I'm
right?
choosing
You
my
said
skill
Ranger.
proficiencies. Yeah, I went Ranger.
Ranger? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So you are a human ranger. Fantastic. And then for your ranger, you won't have to choose anything special until level 3. Everybody more or less has that once they reach level 3, they get to customize their class. So all rangers start out very similar, but then as you go, you get more and more customized. Now, because you're newer to the game, looking at the ranger, there are a few decisions that you have to make. The proficiencies that you see there, the list of proficiencies, they all more or less do what they sound like. Okay, so animal handling is dealing with animals. Investigating is the ability to like look at a scene and see if there's anything off. I will tell everyone, perception is super useful. Perception is pretty much how we see if anyone is surprised, if you're going to notice a critical piece of information. Can
I tell you what I chose?
Sure.
I chose perception, stealth, and nature.
Excellent. Fantastic. And then as human, you get you get proficiencies as well that you can choose. The cool thing with the human, though, is that it can be any skill, whereas the classes are from a specific list. Okay. So yes, once you've chosen your race, go through, make sure you've chosen your subclass. VektorKat, you know what you want to do?
I'm getting there.
So we have so far.
I kind of am changing it. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
That's fine. That's what this is for. That's why we're doing this together.
So I'll be a half elf, but I'll still be a rogue.
Half elf rogue. Yeah. Great. Half elves are great.
How do I?
Got the cat.
I'm choosing all my skills here.
So, and Moy, you're kind of like going like shadowy, illusion-y, like
not shadowy, but illusion-y. But that's later on. So
later on. So yeah, there is a specialty for rogues called the Arcane Trickster that is able to do all sorts of fun stuff with illusions, and I think there's another one they have that does some illusion stuff too. Excellent though. A half-elf rogue, a half-elf bard.
I feel like the pocket to fill is like frontline meat shield is kind of what's interesting me at this point.
Possibly. Let me just make note here. Human ranger. Okay, well, let's see. So right now, rogues are very versatile. They are pretty amazing at doing damage as long as they can be sneaky about it. And they get a decent skill set. So but they are like, depending on the type of rogue you end up playing, they're pretty good at dealing damage. But their armor is limited, so they're not frontline material at all. Foybles, your bard. Bards are jacks of all trades, masters of none. The bards in 5th edition are pretty awesome, in my opinion. Bard's my favorite class, but they can pretty much fill any role. depending on, and I think you want it to be a Bard of Valor ultimately, but they have an arrangement of magic that they can use. They have spells they can cast, but then some bards are better with magic than others, and that's a decision you make by level 3. And that's the cool thing about this, is that, you know, when we play, you guys will have some time to figure out your abilities, and it won't be till for most of you till level 3 that you have to figure something out where you're getting more specialized. But yeah, bards can be good at swinging swords. They got a decent repertoire of spells. Their spells don't really deal damage, but their spells are great at supporting the group, and they have healing, which is very useful, especially if the party decides not to have a cleric in the group. Perfect. And then the ranger, there are primarily 2 different types of rangers initially. There's your double weapon fighting ranger, and there's your ranged weapon ranger. Do you know which one you want to be? Would you rather have 2 swords or a bow and arrow? That's to Owls. You're being the ranger, right? Or did I miss you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, being the ranger. Were you talking to me?
Well, just now I was talking to you. Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry, I was busy choosing my feet and reading all these things.
Oh no, I know. And this is all written in Jello. You guys can change stuff up, but it'll just help the others determine the sorts of things they want to do. So this ranger of yours, and rangers are like they're like warriors of the woods, is what a ranger is. Okay. Yeah. So you know, if you think of Lord of the Rings, Strider is a ranger.
Precisely what I am thinking in mind.
So now rangers generally, you can either go with your, and I think it's not until level 2 that you get your choosing between your bows and your melee weapons.
And so far, I haven't been given that choice. So.
No. So yeah, your if you guys actually on the right hand side, it will say it says ranger, and if you actually scroll down, you guys can see your progression. So it says the ranger, and then it has your level progression. So rangers are one of those classes that they initially level 1. They don't have a whole lot because it's just the favorite enemy and the natural explorer, which is cool. It lets you, when you're moving through the woods, everybody can not get impeded and stuff like that. But it's not until level 2 that the ranger starts to take off. You get some magic, you choose a fighting style. So yeah, and that's okay. So at first you're basically a limited fighter that, but you should know going into this that eventually you will get fighting style at next level, and the fighting style is a choice between having I gotta get that on here. I don't know why it would. I have the player's handbook, so for some reason I clicked on the fighting style and it didn't just instantly go to it. I'll figure that out. But in the end, they either are great with 2 weapons. Okay, so you have like a short sword in each hand, or they're great with a bow and arrow. Okay, and you'll be able to choose that later. Okay, so that leaves you there, VektorKat. We have a rogue, we have a bard, we have a ranger. Now that composition suggests to me that often you guys will be. It sounds like you're not necessarily the type that's just going to run into a fight. So while you certainly could take a frontline character, you could also do something like take a spellcaster and complement the group as a wizard or as a cleric. So yeah, you got some versatility. Like this is already a versatile party, rogues, bard, and ranger. But none of them is like, I would say like super heavy for things like hardcore damage. Like the rogue can do a lot of damage, but they need circumstance. So yeah, a fighter would work. A paladin could be cool. A spellcaster, a sorcerer might be neat.
Wow, that's a lot of gold.
Sorry.
For what?
I rolled
for
gold.
Moy rolled his
you rolled your
gold.
gold. Okay. Little thing that I do in my world, all gold is actually silver, and we don't use gold. So it's fine. Just call it. I apply the same things. It's just all in silver. So if something was worth 25 gold in the player's handbook, we say it's worth 25 silver. There is a reason for that, and you guys will find out about it later. But otherwise, know that when I use currency, everything will be in silver. So yeah, I guess VektorKat, it's flavor-wise, just what do you want to go for? What you choose could actually shape how the party makes decisions, right?
Yeah, it could. And that's of course a storytelling responsibility that I want to split with everybody. I don't want it to be, unilateral. I think I don't have a decision at this point. I want to ruminate.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give each of you got Rogue, Bard, Ranger. Okay, I want you right now. We're in the Nameless Inn, and you guys actually realize that there might be something that connects you. Now, what I will suggest we do here. Don't worry about your abilities right now. We're gonna do our backgrounds. Okay, and this is where we're gonna sort of discover the reason that you guys are adventuring together. Okay. Yeah. So for your background, every character has, sure, you're a rogue, sure, you're a bard, but you did something else before you took on a career as a hero. Okay. So your background, it's kind of like the job that you did. And all of the backgrounds, they give you access to some skills that might be outside of your base class, but they also allow adding a bit of flavor to your character. Okay, so if you were a ranger, perhaps you were a ranger that was once a noble, and you've since decided you don't want to be a noble anymore, or perhaps once upon a time you were a criminal and you traded in your criminal ways to do whatever. Okay, so if you go to background, you'll see that there are a list of backgrounds. I would rather we not use the custom. I'd rather we use one of them there. So these will give you a bit of flavor and a little bit of extra skill. Okay. I'll quickly just go through them so you don't have to read them all. So an acolyte is kind of like a follower of it could be a cult, it could be a faith. Either way, they're some low-level ritual individual connected to some sort of magic, superstition. Okay. A charlatan is somebody who cons people. Okay. So the stuff they're going to get is going to be very similar to that. A criminal is somebody who has done jail time, broken the law, gone into a dungeon for whatever reason. Okay. An entertainer is somebody who likes to play a flute or sing a song. Anyone could be an entertainer. A folk hero is wherever you came from. Something happened and you had to rise to the occasion, and you were just a peasant, but you did something amazing, and there's some recognition there for it. A gladiator used to fight in a coliseum. Your guild artisan is pretty much you're skilled at something. You were a butcher. You were a wagon maker. You were a blacksmith. Some kind of trade. A guild merchant, similar, but it's for business. A hermit, you basically spent your life in a hut and you stayed away from people and you just kept to yourself, and that might make you a little wily, but you might have figured some interesting things out while you were a hermit. Knight, you guys know what a knight is. He used to be a knight once upon a time. Noble, so you are of noble birth, noble blood. So you were born with a silver spoon. Okay. An outlander is like a Conan the Barbarian. Like you lived out, not in civilization. You stayed away from civilization, and you were able to survive just fine. A pirate is a pirate. A sage. You have been studying in a library for many years, and now you're ready to get out there and adventure and unlock some strange mystery. A sailor's like a pirate, but they're not pirates. So pirates get something where more or less NPCs acknowledge you're a pirate and they're willing to just give you things for free. Like if you just take your ale and they'll be too scared to do anything about it. Where the sailor is more, cares about sailing the boat more than piratey stuff. Soldier, you used to be a member of a militia or an army, and you may have even had a rank of some kind. And a spy, you worked as someone in espionage, just like in Civ. Okay, maybe you got captured and decided to end your spying ways. And then an urchin is like literally your hobo in the streets. You grew up on the streets, and but you became a good survivor and surviving in like an urban setting. It's kind of like an urban outlander. So each of these will give you some extra skills, but they'll also establish part of your identity. Okay. So why don't I start with Moy? Moy, what kind of background did your character have? What do you think?
I am a noble. Come from
Awesome.
a high descent. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Noble. Foybles, what sort of background does your character have?
I know how to entertain.
Yeah, double down, man.
Of course.
Double down. All right. So you were an entertainer, okay, in your past life. Okay, and my ranger friend, what, pray tell, was your background?
I was also an entertainer.
Excellent. All right. Excellent. So you were an entertainer, and then
VektorKat had to go because
VektorKat.
we are way over time.
Oh, VektorKat had to go. Okay. Well, yeah, we can totally wrap up. I just think by the end of this, my hope was that you guys have a general idea of what each of you is playing. Okay.
Yep.
And then from that we can. But anyway, I'm okay to keep talking. Do other people want to go?
I'm good.
I do gotta go.
Okay, so Moy, what you're going to want to do you can do the rest of this on your own.
I'm already done my character sheet actually. I finished it all.
Okay, excellent. So I can view it, and we can talk about why you guys are adventuring together. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Moy, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'm sorry that I missed VektorKat leaving. Either way, we've got the baseline, so that means next Wednesday we'll get right into adventure. Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Excellent.
Say goodbye to the stream.
Goodbye, stream.
Bye-bye.
Okay.